Chapter 2392. It was not until a long time after the Black Demon ship disappeared that the cultivators of Qianshan City dared to stand up. They looked at the deep pit in front of them in horror, not daring to speak for a long time. On the other side, the Black Demon ship flew at an extremely fast speed in the direction of the Ting family. A day later, the Black Demon ship stopped again. This was because they had arrived at the Ting family. The Ting family was not in any city. Instead, they occupied a spiritual mountain by themselves. After all, the Ting family was the invincible house of kings. Their strength and status were much higher than that of the Castellan's mansion. Therefore, they naturally occupied better spiritual veins. In front of them, mountains were everywhere and surrounded by white fog. It was a fairyland. In the mountain range, there were countless palaces and pavilions. The surroundings seemed calm, but Lin Xian and the others naturally felt that there was a terrifying formation here. However, some of the outer formations could not trap Lin Xian and the others at all. Therefore, the Black Demon ship directly drove out and rampaged. When they arrived in front of them, a ray of light shot into the sky. However, it was difficult to resist the power of the Black Demon legacy. In an instant, the formation shattered and scattered in all directions like a mirror. Soon, the Black Demon ship flew into the depths of the mountains unscrupulously. Finally, they stopped. There was a mountain gate in front of them. It was very majestic. Under the mountain gate, there were 4 disciples of the Tang family guarding it. At this moment, they felt the change and raised their heads one after another. Then, their expressions changed drastically. Not good. There were enemies. They were too shocked. To be honest, an important place like a mountain gate would usually be heavily guarded. However, there were only 4 people in the Tang family. This was because they were very confident that no one would dare to behave atrociously in the Tang family. However, the situation now was beyond their expectations. One of them quickly soared into the sky and flew towards the mountains. It seemed that he was going to report something. The other 3 people drew their sabers and swords and pointed upwards. One of them sneered. "Who dares to trespass into the Ting family?" 1/. On the Black Demon ship, Lin Xian looked at this scene and shouted coldly. Whoosh! Hui Dao stood out. His figure swayed and he appeared in the sky. With a clang, the full moon saber at his waist slashed out. The saber light was hazy like a full moon, emitting a terrifying aura. In an instant, the majestic mountain gate below was split into 2 halves. Not only that, but the bodies of the 3 Ting family cultivators also split open in an instant, and they fell into a pool of blood. This saber strike was simply too astonishing. Not only was the mountain gate destroyed, but the ground was also split open. A huge crack appeared and extended inwards. It was as if a huge earthquake had occurred. Rumbling sounds could be heard. This finally caught the Ting family's attention. Suddenly, countless lights lit up in the mountains. One figure after another soared into the sky. It was accompanied by angry roars. "Damn it, who is it? How dare you cause trouble in the Tang family?" Countless silhouettes rushed out. There were at least a few hundred people. One could imagine how terrifying the Tang clan was. Damn it, the mountain gate was actually destroyed. These people soared into the air. When they saw the scene before them, their faces turned extremely ugly. Their mountain gate had actually been directly hacked apart by someone. This was a blatant provocation. In the Ninli dynasty, no one dared to provoke the Ting family like this. "Damn it, who the hell are you?" An old man shouted coldly. He looked at the pitch-black ship in front of him and frowned. This was because the aura it emitted was too terrifying. However, a cold snort was heard from the void. "Where's your clan leader? Tell him to come here and die." "What? Tell the Ting family's clan leader to come here and die? Who in the world dares to say such a thing?" The Ting family cultivators were so angry that their bodies trembled. The old man shouted coldly, "Go, catch him. Let's see what ability he has to say such a thing." Whoosh! 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 4 rays of light flew over quickly like a meteor shower. These were 4 mighty figures. At this moment, they attacked together. 4 sky-covering hands enveloped the sky, trying to catch Hui Dao. However, Hui Dao sneered. Light flowed on his body, and the full moon saber in his hand emitted a terrifying light. Subsequently, he slashed out with his saber. The saber light flickered in the air, cut the void, and slashed at the 4 sky-covering hands in the sky. Puff! 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 In an instant, the 4 sky-covering hands were slashed apart. Not only that, but the 4 people's arms were also directly cut off. Ah! The 4 mighty figures covered their broken arms and quickly retreated. Their faces were full of horror. Behind them, the Ting family's cultivators were stunned. Heavens! Who is this young man in front of me? He actually cut off the hands of 4 mighty figures with one slash. Isn't this too terrifying? He's definitely a peerless genius. But which force does he belong to? How dare he behave atrociously in our Tang family? Humph! They did not attack again. The old man took a step forward and snorted coldly. I'll ask you again, who are you? Although the other party only sent a young man. However, the strength that he displayed was simply too powerful. He had to be careful. I'm the one who will kill you! Hui Dao snorted and said coldly, I've said it before. Tell your clan leader to come here and die. You're courting death. Boy, don't think that you can behave atrociously here just because you have some ability. The Ting family is not a place you can come to. The old man was furious. He quickly attacked. A fist passed through the void and blasted toward Hui Dao. The air exploded in an instant, and a terrifying airwave rolled. It did not look like a fist at all. Instead, it was like a primordial demonic mountain. The sound coming from it was too terrifying. It shook the world, causing it to tremble rapidly. Hui Dao did not resist it head-on. He swayed his body and quickly dodged. In the sky, the terrifying fist followed his movements and chased after him. Seeing this, Hui Dao frowned and stopped in his tracks. His body emitted a terrifying light, and the full moon scimitar in his hand burst out. The light was so bright that people could not open their eyes. Buzz! He swung his scimitar forward and collided with the huge fist in the sky, causing an earth-shattering sound. It was as if someone had shaken the entire space. The sound was so loud that the Ting family's cultivators behind him trembled. Many of them were bleeding from their ears. In the sky, the terrifying saber light and the huge fist disappeared at the same time. Hui Dao stood proudly. On the other hand, the Tang family's elder's face changed drastically. How is this possible? The fact that the other party was actually able to contend against him was simply too surprising. The other party was just a young boy, but he was a figure who had lived for thousands of years. Could it be that the other party was already so powerful? He did not dare to imagine. However, 3 middle-aged men rushed over from behind. Their auras were also unparalleled. The 3 of them said together, Elder, we're here to help you. As soon as the 3 of them appeared, they charged toward Hui Dao with great power. At the same time, the old man attacked again. Chapter 2393. Elder, let us help you! As soon as the 3 of them appeared, they charged toward Hui Dao with great power. At the same time, the elder attacked again. For a time, the 4 of them suppressed Hui Dao. However, it was difficult for them to hurt Hui Dao. Humph! At this moment, a cold snort came from the big black ship again. 4 against 1? What kind of ability is that? Let me accompany you if you dare! Whoosh! A green figure appeared in the sky. It was a beautiful woman in a long green dress. As soon as she appeared, a peacock appeared behind her and spread its beautiful feathers. Thousands of green divine lights shrouded the front like meteors. Boom! 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 The 3 middle-aged mighty figures were sent flying and vomited blood. The elder kept retreating, but there was a huge shield in front of him that blocked the impact of the energy. Although he was not injured, his face was extremely ugly. Another young man is here! Another young genius who is equally terrifying. Damn it, what kind of force is this? How can there be so many young geniuses? Could it be a peerless sect or a peerless sacred ground? Or is it a royal family? He could not think of any other family that could be so terrifying. However, the elder snorted with a gloomy face. Do you think you can beat the Ting family in terms of numbers? He was mad with anger. Indeed, this was the Ting family's territory, and the Ting family had experts. Moreover, with so many experts, he did not believe that they could not kill Hui Dao. Soon, the Ting family's martial artists behind them also rushed forward. Not only that, but more and more experts came from all directions. They surrounded Hui Dao and Peacock. How dare you behave so atrociously in the Ting family? You're courting death. Kill him and let him know the power of the Ting family. Angry roars came one after another. Then, the purple-clothed elder waved his hand, and all the experts around him attacked crazily. Humph! Hui Dao snorted. His body emitted a terrifying saber light as he attacked crazily. The saber lights were like the Milky Way, slashing in all directions. On the other side, Peacock also used her bloodline power, and the shadow behind her became more and more powerful. The 1,000 demon eyes appeared and formed a terrifying soul attack. Ah! 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 Many people were hit. Hee, I'll play with you guys too. Right at this moment, an icy cold voice sounded. Soon, a blurry shadow appeared behind the two old men. Puff! Puff! Black light flashed, and two heads flew up. The corpses of the two old men fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, everyone went crazy and felt a chill run down their backs. As for the purple-clothed old man, he was also roaring madly. Damn it, be careful, there's an assassin! They didn't expect that there would be such a terrifying assassin among them. It really shocked them. Sure enough, no one dared to be careless. They quickly activated their battle armor, and the defensive light in front of them completely covered their bodies. 1. The third to make a move was naturally ghostly. After he ambushed a few experts, he waved his hand and shot out the white bone banner rice. The white bone banner waved, and a cold wind blew in the surroundings. The world darkened. Countless vengeful spirits quickly appeared. There were even mountains of skeletons and a terrifying army of death charging over. For a time, the sky fell and the earth cracked. It was extremely terrifying. On the black demon ship above, Lin Xian and the others looked down with a sneer on their faces. They didn't need to make a move at all. Hui Dao and the other two could handle it. Sure enough, about half an hour later, the world returned to normal. The Ting family's martial artists retreated one after another. Most of them were injured, and many were directly killed. Hui Dao, Peacock, and Ghostly stood in the void, and the aura on their bodies became stronger. The Ting family was just SOSO. Peacock snorted coldly. Ghostly's eyes lit up. Not bad, not bad. This time, I can absorb a lot of powerful vengeful spirits. Indeed, he waved the white bone banner and absorbed the souls and blood essence of those killed. On the opposite side, the Ting family's people had extremely ugly expressions. In particular, the purple-clothed old man who led the group was trembling with anger. There was a saber mark on his body that almost cut off his arm. At this moment, he covered the wound and gritted his teeth as he asked, "Damn it, who are you people?" He was too shocked. 3 young men had beaten them to the point where they couldn't fight back. They didn't dare to imagine it at all. The 3 of them were top-notch God-favored ones. What kind of force could produce so many terrifying young God-favored ones? I told you to get your patriarch here to die. Hui Dao pointed his long saber forward and said coldly, "Damn it! They've gone too far." The purple-clothed old man roared angrily. The surrounding Ting family's martial artists were also trembling with anger. A few of the old ones vomited large mouthfuls of blood. They were too aggrieved. The Ting family had never been provoked like this. However, they really couldn't defeat them. Therefore, they could only ask for help from the family. Whoosh! The purple-clothed old man waved his hand, and a black rune quickly flew to the family. Boom! 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 In the next moment, countless powerful figures rushed out from the family. Each of them was like a demon god as they stepped on the air. This time, all of the people who came were of the elder rank. Their auras were very terrifying. At this moment, they were connected together as if 100,000 mountains had directly shattered the void. This time, 10 elders came, and each of them was abnormally terrifying. In particular, the two at the front were even more valiant. They had definitely reached the level of a peerless powerhouse. "Great Elder, you're here!" When the purple-clothed old man saw this, he was overjoyed. The other people smiled as well. They knew the Tang family was truly furious. This time, they sent 10 elders at once. They thought that they could definitely suppress the other party. "Who are you? How dare you cause trouble in the Tang family?" The 10 elders looked around. When they saw the scene around them, their faces were terrifyingly dark. Humph! This time, before Hu Yidao and the other two could speak, Lin Xian on the big black ship scoffed coldly. Whoosh! His body swayed, and he quickly landed in front of them. The Crimson Dragon and Xing Tian were also with him. The others stood on the big black ship and did not come down. However, as long as Lin Xian gave the order, these people would immediately make a move. "Why? Have you forgotten about me so quickly?" After Lin Xian arrived in front of them, he sneered. Hu Yidao, Peacock, and Ghostly stood behind him respectfully. "So this is our leader?" Seeing this, the faces of the Tang family's martial artists changed. It seemed like the other party's leader had come out. Nevertheless, what shocked them was that the other party's leader was so young. They could not believe it. When they heard this and saw the other party's face clearly, the Tang family's martial artists exclaimed as if they were struck by lightning. Chapter 2394. What? Damn brat! It's actually you? How could you still be alive? They were too shocked because they recognized each other. Wasn't he being hunted down by the war tribe and countless powerhouses of the Tai dynasty? How could he still be alive? Moreover, he has such powerful subordinates. Damn it, who exactly is this brat? They were extremely shocked. It seems that his identity isn't simple. You recognize me? That's easy. Lin Xian sneered. Are you willing to kneel and die, or are you prepared to be cut into pieces? I'll give you a choice. Kneel down obediently, and I'll give you a quick death. What? You want to kill us? Hearing this, the cultivators of the Tang family were furious. The elders also snorted coldly. Brat, I don't know how you survived, nor do I know what kind of power you have. However, you're too naive if you want to attack the Tang family. Let me tell you, the Tang family is an invincible family. Do you think you can contend against the invincible kings of our family? The invincible kings are indeed very strong, but I don't need to contend against them. I just need to kill you. Where's your clan leader? Tell him to come and die. Lin Xian knew that the clan leader must have agreed to the pursuit of those powerhouses last time. Therefore, he wanted to kill the clan leader and the 10 elders in front of him. Only then would it be considered revenge. What? You want to kill our clan leader? You're courting death. At this moment, an elder stood out and emitted a powerful aura. Terrifying energy surged in all directions. Brat, I'll kill you first. This was the third elder of the other party. He was terrifyingly strong and was almost a peerless powerhouse. At this moment, he stood out with a monstrous aura. In the next moment, he threw a punch. The terrifying power shattered the void and directly rushed towards Lin Xian, wanting to kill him. Sensing this power, the cultivators of the Tang family trembled, but their eyes were filled with excitement. This was because they felt that this power was not much different from a peerless powerhouse. He won't be able to resist. You're courting death. Since that's the case, don't blame me for being impolite. Lin Xian sneered and raised his palm. The azure dragon hand condensed in his hand, and countless sword chi surrounded his fingertips. In the next moment, he slapped it. Boom! This palm contained the power of the great dragon sword soul and was extremely powerful. Therefore, he was able to blast the terrifying fist away with a single slap. Not only that, the azure dragon palm enveloped the third elder and smashed him into a bloody mist. Boom! Blood filled the air, splattering everywhere. Countless cracks appeared in the terrifying space as a black hole rapidly spread out. Upon seeing this, the Tang family's martial artists were dumbfounded. What? The third elder was killed? He was killed by a single palm strike. How could this be? An expert who was going to become a peerless almighty was killed with a single palm strike? Who was this kid? They trembled at the thought. How could this be? Why was the other party so powerful? Was the other party already a peerless almighty? Damn it, I'm going to kill you! At this moment, the other two elders also roared in anger. They pulled out their swords and sabers, and the light on their bodies quickly erupted. However, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Golden runes flickered as he activated the soul-burning secret technique. Immediately, the two of them screamed. Ah! Ah! Fifth elder! Sixth elder! When the Ting family's martial artists saw this, they roared crazily. What did the other party do? How did the other party make the two elders scream crazily with just a glance? What kind of technique was that? Nonetheless, what shocked them was yet to come. That was because the fifth elder and the sixth elder's bodies suddenly stopped trembling. Their eyes were blank and had lost their luster. Bang! In the next moment, the two of them fell from the sky and landed on the ground, creating two deep pits. Elders! They roared crazily. Countless Taoists flew down and saved the two of them. However, their scalps went numb in the next moment. This was because the two elders had long stopped breathing. They were dead. The two elders were killed by a single glance from the other party. Oh God! They retreated crazily. Many of the more timid ones' legs went weak, and they even wet their pants. This was because this technique was too terrifying. They had never seen it before. This was probably how an invincible king killed someone. The other elders were also shocked. They widened their eyes in disbelief. Who exactly was the other party? They did not know that although it was just a glance, Lin Xian had used all of his strength. In addition to the power of the heavenly secret god eyes, he could naturally kill the two elders. What he wanted was a thunderous attack to completely shock these people. What do you think? Now, do you think that I'm qualified to contend against the Tang family? Lin Xian said indifferently. Now, the remaining elders, kneel down and ask your patriarch to come out and kneel to receive his death. I can spare the rest of the Tang family. His voice was like thunder, striking everyone's hearts. The Ting family's martial artists' mouths and tongues were dry, and their bodies were cold. Those who were weak directly lay on the ground with pale faces. As for the elders, their faces were hidden. Humph! At this moment, the first elder spoke. He scoffed coldly, and his voice spread in all directions like thunder. First, he calmed everyone's hearts, then he said, "Don't be frightened by him. This should be a secret pupil technique. It's nothing to fuss about killing the soul. As long as the soul is protected, there won't be a problem." Is that so? Looks like you're very confident in yourself. Lin Xian looked at the first elder and sneered. In the next moment, he raised his palm, and a chaotic sword sheath flew out and slashed in front of him. The sword was too terrifying. The sky was directly cut in half, and the terrifying aura made everyone tremble. The first elder's pupils constricted. He did not expect the other party to be so decisive. He attacked without hesitation. Damn it, get lost! Nevertheless, he was the first elder after all. He was a peerless powerhouse, and he even had the soaring serpent's bloodline power. Therefore, he would not admit defeat so easily. In the next moment, he roared and instantly activated his bloodline power. He knew that the other party was a great enemy, so he did not dare to be careless. Boom! He struck out with his palm, and the illusory image of a soaring serpent appeared in the sky. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws. It blocked the shocking chaotic sword she. Boom! 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 Energy exploded, and the surrounding space kept collapsing, but it was still blocked. Great! The first elder finally blocked it. Seeing this scene, everyone cried out in alarm. The Ting family's martial artists were so excited that they cried. This was because they felt that there was hope for the Ting family. No matter how strong that young fellow was, he could not be a match for the first elder. On the other side, Hui Dao and the other two who were beside Lin Xian sneered. This was because they knew that their hall master was not only capable of this. The other party's first elder was probably going to be unlucky. Chapter 2395. Sure enough, at the next moment, the sword light on Lin Xian's body became even brighter. Countless sword lights lit up the entire sky. The sword seemed to be able to split heaven and earth. Boom! 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 The sky shook, the earth trembled, and the mountains in the distance rumbled. What? This sword technique is so fearsome. It can actually cause a phenomenon in heaven and earth. The faces of the Ting family's martial artists took on ghastly expressions when they saw this. The Ting family's great elder had a grave look on his face too. He roared furiously, and the energy in his body moved quickly. He did not dare to be careless at all. Next, endless lights gathered above him and formed a flying serpent that spiraled in the void. It rode on clouds and mists, and its fearsome aura enveloped the sky. Boom! 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 Its humongous body pressed down on Lin Xian as if it wanted to crush him. At this moment, the great elder finally used his bloodline power and summoned the illusory image of the flying serpent. That power was so strong that it shocked everyone. Boom! 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 The flying serpent shrouded the surroundings. Fearsome poisonous mist spread, and a murderous aura soared into the sky. The martial artists in the distance also quickly retreated. They retreated to the clan's formation and watched quietly. Young fella, go to hell! The great elder roared furiously, and the illusory image of the flying serpent above his head completely erupted. Lin Xian also frowned. He had to admit that the great elder was indeed formidable. The great elder's bloodline power had erupted at this moment, and he felt a hint of threat. Nevertheless, he sneered at the next moment, and a dragon's roar was heard coming from his body. In the sky, the cold aura was instantly extinguished, and the fearsome poisonous gases were also blown away by the strong wind. Buzz! The sword shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths. A shocking sword chi descended from the sky like an immortal light, and it collapsed the entire sky. The great elder was shocked because he realized that his opponent's sword chi was stronger than before. In a panic, he roared madly again and activated his bloodline power. Boom! 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 In the sky, intense collisions were heard. Fearsome lights lit up the entire sky, causing everyone to be unable to open their eyes at all. After the first attack, the great elder quickly retreated. Even so, the illusory image of the flying serpent wrapped around him tightly, so that he didn't get hurt too badly. On the other side, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He didn't retreat. Instead, he charged forward. 1. The ancient dragon abyss sword appeared in the air, tearing the void apart. Demon ceiling. The sword soared into the sky. Even with the superb formation, the Tang family's martial artists could still sense bone-piercing chills. In the sky, countless clouds were pierced directly, and huge cracks appeared. The terrifying sword light was like a mountain, soaring into the sky. Pun! Countless sword chi turned into a huge seal, completely sealing off the sky. The soaring serpent roared madly and slammed into the gaps around it. However, each and every one of those sword chis was like a 5-fingered mountain. They were abnormally terrifying and could not be broken apart at all. Humph! Collapsing heaven. Another sword appeared in the sky, and the sky in front of him instantly collapsed. The soaring serpent was torn apart by the terrifying power. Puff! The soaring serpent's phantom was destroyed, and the great elder was sent flying, coughing up blood. His face was filled with shock and disbelief. His opponent had destroyed his soaring serpent so easily. How was this possible? That was the power of his bloodline. Chaotic rebellion. Lin Xian shouted coldly, and a hazy sword shadow appeared on his body. Tens of millions of sword chi crisscrossed and charged forward. The sky was instantly destroyed, and the great elder was enveloped by countless sword lights. Bang, bang, bang! A part of the world was pierced through. The elders roared madly and attacked with all their might, wanting to tear apart the storm. They had to save the great elder. As for the surrounding spirit formations, they began to tremble violently. In fact, cracks had even appeared in some places. Whoosh! When everything disappeared, the great elder was covered in blood. More than half of his body had been cut off. At this moment, he was on his last breath. What? How could this be? Everyone was stunned when they saw this. They could not believe it at all. You're no match for me at all. Tell your patriarch to get out here. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing all of you. If you want our patriarch to come out, you'll have to kill me. The great elder roared madly. His face was ferocious, and the bloodline power in his body began to burn. It seemed like he wanted to fight to the death. Seeing this, Lin Xian snorted coldly. Do you think I don't dare to do it? Metal sword! Lin Xian shouted coldly. He waved the ancient sword in his hand, and a golden light flashed as fast as lightning. Poof! The great elder's head flew up. This sword was simply too fast and incomparably sharp. It was simply impossible to guard against it. Even a peerless powerhouse could not dodge it at all. Moreover, the great elder was seriously injured, so he was killed by the sword. What sword technique is this? How can it be so terrifying? The Ting family's martial artists were horrified. The other elders also felt their scalps go numb. Lin Xian snorted coldly, but Hu Yidao and the others were shocked. This seems to be the metal sword of the Immortal Palace's 5 elements sword. This is a heaven-grade cultivation technique. Heavens, how long has it been since the Temple Master came to see us? Even if it's the first day of cultivation, it's probably only been a few months. To be able to use the metal sword to such an extent, his talent is too heaven-defying. At this moment, Hu Yidao, Peacock, and Geely were shocked. They discovered that their hall master was simply too terrifying. Even the elders and deacons on the Black Demon ship were surprised. The 100 elite martial artists were extremely excited. Too powerful! Their temple master is too powerful! This made their blood boil. After killing the great elder with one sword, the sword chi on Lin Xian's body did not weaken. Instead, it became even more violent. It covered the entire sky, and the terrifying sword chi whistled. The Ting family's martial artists were extremely pale. Damn it, kill him! Fight it out with him! Some people in the formation gritted their teeth. Boom! 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 They quickly activated their killing formations. One by one, the shocking killing formations rushed over. As the invincible House of Kings, the Tang family was very terrifying. They had a lot of killing formations. 5 killing formations were activated in an instant. One of them was as red as blood and carried flames that filled the sky. The other one was as black as ink and looked like rolling demonic clouds. There were also sword chi that filled the sky, terrifying saber lights, and violent thunder and lightning. The 5 killing formations shrouded Lin Xian in an instant, intending to kill him completely. The momentum was very terrifying. At this moment, the 5 of them attacked together, and they could kill an almighty. Therefore, the Tang family's martial artists who were in charge of killing revealed a ferocious expression. Buzz! Lin Xian did not hesitate either. In an instant, he activated the Dragon Sword domain. The domain kept expanding and instantly enveloped the 5 killing formations. Thousands of sword chi flew out quickly and instantly pierced through the 5 killing formations. Not only that, the thousands of martial artists in the 5 killing formations were instantly killed. Boom! 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 The skies split open, and black holes appeared one after another. Blood sprinkled down. Everyone was stunned by what they saw. The elders of the Ting family roared crazily. No! Damn it! Stop it! Chapter 2396. The elders of the Ting family roared crazily. No! Damn it! Stop it! Kill him! We must kill him! No matter what price we have to pay, we must kill him! At this moment, the second elder roared. His eyes were red and filled with madness. The other elders were also filled with killing intent. More cultivators from the Ting family rushed over. Humph! Seeing this, Lin Xian snorted coldly and pointed his sword at the sky. Beside him, Hui Dao, Peacock, and Geely stood out and emitted a terrifying aura. Not only that, but Xing Tian also took a step forward. The aura on his body was like that of a primordial demon mountain, pressing down. The dark red holy dragon transformed into a divine dragon and roared. The bloodline power of the Ting family cultivators trembled. What, you want to fight? Do you believe that I won't destroy the Ting family today? The sword intent on Lin Xian's body became even more dazzling. In the sky, the black demon ship slowly descended. 100 young cultivators jumped off the ship. They flew quickly and the aura on their bodies suddenly erupted. They were too excited and couldn't wait any longer. Now that they received Lin Xian's order, they quickly rushed out. They weren't the only ones. Dozens of deacons and elders also walked out together. The aura on their bodies was even stronger. For a moment, the figures behind Lin Xian were densely packed. Each of them was incomparably valiant. Damn it, why does he have so many people? The people from the Ting family were truly dumbfounded. Each of them began to tremble. Even the elders' pupils shrunk. The aura of an almighty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Heavens, how is this possible? So many! They realized that there were several almighties on the other side. In addition, the aura on the young cultivators was also abnormally terrifying. This is a group of geniuses, a group of powerhouses. Damn it, who is this kid? How does he have such a terrifying force? The Ting family cultivators were stunned and their faces were filled with fear. They didn't dare to make a move anymore. Indeed, they had more people, but their overall strength was no match for the other side. Unless they let all the warriors of the Ting clan come out and use their so-called trump card. In that case, they might be able to kill him. However, for the other party to be able to send out so many cultivators in an instant, the power behind them must be even more terrifying. In fact, he had even surpassed them. If they really offended such a figure, the Ting family would have a hard time in the future even if they killed those people. This was especially true when they saw the mysterious smile on Lin Xian's face. They were extremely frightened. You dare to attack us? You really don't know what's good for you. Ghostly sneered. The martial artist from the Ting family gulped. The Ting family's elder had a grim look on his face. Who knew? A cold voice was heard coming from the depths of the Ting family. Then, a terrifying force tore through the clouds, and a figure stepped through the air. Upon seeing this person, the Ting family's martial artist turned around and exclaimed, Patriarch! Greetings to the Patriarch! Welcome, Patriarch! It was great that the human race was here. The Ting family's martial artists roared madly. Even the elders heaved sighs of relief. This was because their patriarch was an extremely fearsome being. Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. The other party finally showed up. When he took a step forward, another figure appeared in the sky. It was a middle-aged man who wore a white robe and had black hair draped behind his back. His eyes were long and narrow, and they shone brightly. I'm surprised that you're still alive. Your strength is also beyond my expectations. Why don't we just let this matter rest? How about we each take a step back? The Ting family's patriarch looked at Lin Xian and said in a deep voice. Take a step back. Upon hearing this, the Ting family's elders were shocked. The martial artists were also in an uproar. Is the Ting family going to admit defeat? This is really a groundbreaking matter. The Ting family was the invincible house of kings. They had never given in to anyone before. Now, they actually gave in to a young man. This was unbelievable. Nonetheless, when they saw the many fearsome powerhouses behind the young man, they fell silent. Take a step back? Lin Xian sneered when he heard this. When you sent the Ting family's powerhouses to kill me, did you ever think of taking a step back? Now that you've seen my strength, you're telling me to take a step back? Do you think there's such a good thing in the world? Today, you and these elders must die. What? As soon as he said that, all the Ting family's martial artists were stunned. The other party was too arrogant. The Ting family had already given in, but the other party was still unyielding. He wants to kill us? He even wants to kill our patriarch? He's going too far, they roared angrily. The Ting family's patriarch's face darkened. Young fella, don't be too arrogant. Don't think that you can contend against the Ting family just because you can summon so many powerhouses. The Ting family's foundation isn't something you can imagine. Is that so? Isn't he just an invincible king? Let him come out and see if I have a way to deal with him. Lin Xian did not care at all. Buzz. His eyes became incomparably cold, and the aura on his body suddenly burst out. He pointed his long sword forward. Cut the crap and die. He slashed with his sword, and the vast swordlight caused the entire sky to tremble. Stubborn! Today, I'll suppress you! The Ting family's patriarch was also furious. Next, he waved his sleeve and slapped out his palm. At once, a purple flying snake flew out. The snake's shadow kept growing in the sky like a mountain. It was extremely terrifying. Its enormous body filled the sky, crushed the space, and ruthlessly collided with the sword chi. Boom! An earth-shattering sound spread out in all directions. The Ting family's martial artists vomited mouthfuls of blood and kept retreating. It was too terrifying. Just the aftermath of the energy was enough to make them unable to withstand it. Everyone retreated into the defense formation. A few elders shouted crazily, and they also kept retreating. On the other side, Hui Dao and the others also retreated to the big black ship. In front of them, only the Ting family's patriarch and Lin Xian were left. Boom! Boom! Seeing that his clansmen had retreated, the Ting family's patriarch no longer had any scruples. The light on his body became more terrifying. Lin Xian was like a sword god, and his attacks were bold and unrestrained. The two of them fought crazily as if two gods had descended to the mortal world. Boom! Lin Xian punched out, and the sky was filled with light. The terrifying fist turned into a black sun and pushed out horizontally in the sky. Burning sky, scorching sun fist. This was the war tribe's divine ability. When it appeared in Lin Xian's hands, it was extremely terrifying. Humph! Watch me devour your son! The Ting family's patriarch stretched out his 10 fingers, which turned into 10 ferocious snakes that danced in the sky. Each of the snakes was 3 kilometers long and crushed the void. At this moment, the 10 snakes moved together as if they were going to destroy the world. Roar! Roar! Chapter 2397. Each Ting snake was 1,000 feet long. Their huge bodies rotated in the air and crushed the void. At this moment, the 10 Ting snakes moved together as if they were going to destroy the world. Roar! 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 The 10 purple Ting snakes waved in the sky, opened their bloody mouths and swallowed all the black suns in the sky. This scene was too terrifying. It was as if they were going to devour the world. The martial artists of the Ting family clapped and cheered. After Lin Xian saw this, he sneered. So what if they swallowed his fist technique? Watch me refine your Ting snakes. As he spoke, he stretched out a palm and grabbed. This palm was extremely terrifying. It kept growing bigger and bigger, covering the entire world. One couldn't see the end of it. Not only that, but the sun, moon, and stars revolved in his palm. It was very mysterious. Sun, moon, divine palm. This was also a terrifying divine ability. At this moment, Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul again. Boom! 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 The sun, moon, divine palm fell mercilessly, and enveloped the 10 Ting snakes in the sky. Whoosh! Air waves rolled, and light shone. The sun, moon, and stars revolved as if they could destroy everything. The 10 Ting snakes roared crazily and counterattacked crazily. However, their bodies started to rupture. Countless cracks appeared on their bodies. Then, they exploded with a boom. Between heaven and earth, countless spiritual chi appeared. The 10 Ting snakes had disappeared. What? They were destroyed. How was this possible? The martial artists of the Ting family couldn't believe it. However, in the next moment, they screamed. This was because they realized that after the palm destroyed the 10 Ting snakes, it once again grabbed towards their clan leader. Buzz! In an instant, the Sun Moon Divine Palm appeared in front of the Ting family's clan leader. The terrifying energy directly cracked the void. Ah! Damn it, get lost! The Ting family's clan leader roared crazily. Mysterious patterns appeared on his body, and the power of his bloodline was also activated. At this moment, he was like a demon king, resisting the Sun Moon Divine Palm in the sky. Buzz! 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 The Sun Moon Divine Palm was boundless and mysterious. It completely grabbed the Ting family's clan leader and slowly closed its 5 fingers. Finally, it closed completely. Clan leader! When the Ting family warriors saw this scene, they roared crazily. The hearts of the Ting family's elders pounded wildly. They did not dare to imagine that their clan leader had been captured by the other party. The reason for that was because the power of the sun, moon, and stars was simply too frightening. Even a peerless expert would be injured. Boom! Just as they decided to take action and save the clan leader together, the situation in front of them changed again. The palm that was originally closed slowly opened at this moment, and a figure rushed out quickly. Damn brat! I'm going to kill you! I will definitely tear you to shreds. The person who rushed out was the Ting family's patriarch. His hair was disheveled at the moment, and his white robe was torn, revealing a blue armor. There was a black demonic tripod cauldron above his head, which gave rise to monstrous demonic flames. Not only that, but there was also a terrifying soaring serpent coiling around his body. Brat, I will never forgive you! The Ting clan patriarch's voice was cold as he clenched his fist. Suddenly, the shadow of the soaring serpent behind him flowed into his hand and transformed into a purple long spear. Brat, you will pay the price for your actions. The Ting family's patriarch waved the purple long spear in his hand, and the void in front of him was completely split open. A terrifying power charged toward Lin Xian. Lin Xian wielded the Dragon Abyss ancient sword to resist it. The two of them fought again. On the 99th move, Lin Xian's ancient sword suddenly emitted a light, and 2 of the runes disappeared. As for that power, it instantly burst forth. Boom! The sword slashed down and collided with the purple long spear, causing cracks to appear on the purple long spear. Another 3 slashes were made, and the purple long spear was directly shattered. As for the Ting family's patriarch, he kept retreating. Damn it! How did this happen? The Ting family's patriarch's face darkened, and the others were all stunned. What's going on? How did the other party suppress their patriarch again? They could not believe it at all. Buzz! A dragon-shaped sword shadow appeared in Lin Xian's left hand again, and he directly turned toward the black demonic tripod cauldron. The sword cut the black demonic tripod cauldron in half. Poof! The black demonic tripod cauldron was originally a defensive treasure, and it was very powerful. However, after it was cut in half, the Ting family's patriarch was immediately hit by the impact. He spat out mouthfuls of blood and was sent flying. Good chance. When Lin Xian saw this, his body flashed, and he charged toward the patriarch. Runes flickered in his left eye. The floating light phantom flew out, and immediately pulled the patriarch's soul into an illusion. Then, he struck with both swords and slashed the patriarch's body. In an instant, the Ting family's patriarch's body caved in, and he was even cut in half at the waist. Blood spurted out, dyeing the sky red. The Ting family's martial artists were completely crazy. Their patriarch was cut in half by a sword. It was truly unbelievable. Ah! The Ting family's patriarch roared crazily in the sky. Soon, something shocking happened. Countless purple snake shadows suddenly appeared at the cut in half of his body, and they quickly intertwined. His severed body actually healed once again. Whoosh! In the next moment, the Ting family's patriarch's body appeared in the distance. He was panting heavily, and his face was abnormally pale. However, his eyes were extremely ferocious and emitted a purple light. Damn it! The Ting family's patriarch was furious. If he did not have the Ting snake bloodline, he would have been killed by this sword. On the other side, Lin Xian also frowned when he saw this. He's not dead? Moreover, his body healed? What technique is this? It's so strange. Young fella, this is the Ting snake bloodline power, a kind of divine ability. As long as it's not a fatal injury, it can usually heal. He Tu explained through voice transmission. The Ting snake has such a divine ability. Lin Xian was surprised. This is equivalent to an immortal body. However, if it was a fatal blow, he would definitely be killed. Even if the patriarch could heal, it would probably be useless. Whoosh! In front of him, the Ting family's patriarch took out a few pills from his interspatial ring and quickly swallowed them. He also consumed a purple Ganoderma and a bottle of black liquid. Then, his exhausted physical strength and injuries were quickly healing. Healing? So what? This sword strike is enough to kill you! Seeing that the patriarch had recovered, Lin Xian did not go forward to stop him at all. He took a deep breath, and a piercing cold light suddenly burst out from his eyes. Then, the great dragon sword in his left hand and the ancient dragon abyss sword in his right hand merged into one. Buzz! He held the sword with both hands and slashed out. Snake swallows heaven and earth. On the other side, the Ting family's patriarch also launched an extremely powerful attack. His entire body twisted and turned into a huge purple snake in the sky. It was 50,000 meters tall, and then it swooped down. The snake opened its mouth and instantly swallowed the entire world. The sky instantly darkened, and only endless sword lights flickered. Thank you for the reward. Thank you? Glory? Why, Yun Tao's reward, you shouldn't have rewarded so enthusiastically. The Turking's reward, if it's possible to reward, I'll reward you inexplicably. Chapter 2398. Everyone, including the martial artists from the Ting family, exclaimed in shock. On the other side, Hui Dao and the others frowned. Ting Jia's clan leader was so arrogant that he dared to devour all of them. Was he not afraid of dying from overeating? Sure enough, before they could make a move, the piercing sword light in the sky collided with the giant python. Boom! 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 A sonorous sound resounded in all directions like a clap of thunder. The darkness in the surroundings quickly faded away. The sky became clear again, and there was even a rain of blood falling from the sky. The Ting family's clan leader screamed in agony as his body split open. The giant flying serpent that he had transformed into was split open by the sword. Ah! The Ting family's clan leader screamed crazily as the two halves of his body rolled in the sky, forming countless snake shadows that circled around each other. They were about to be reunited. Humph! Lin Xian snorted coldly. How could he give the clan leader such a chance? Next, he activated the soul-burning secret technique in his right eye and burned the clan leader's soul. Ah! The Ting family's clan leader screamed in agony as his body rolled in the air. It was impossible for him to guard against this kind of soul attack. At the same time, Lin Xian's long sword emitted a dazzling light again. He slashed his sword at the clan leader's head. Boom! 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 Terrifying light vibrated as the sword slashed off the clan leader's head. Moreover, the soul creation brought about by the soul-burning secret technique was effective. The Ting family's clan leader's soul was burned clean. This time, even if he had an immortal body, he would not be able to survive. Sure enough, in the next moment, the Ting family's clan leader's body stiffened in the sky and fell to the ground. Clan leader! Seeing this, the Tang family's martial artists were all stunned. The elders of the Tang family were also stunned. What happened? Their clan leader had the purest flying serpent bloodline and was known as an immortal body. No matter how heavy his injuries were, he could still recover. However, their clan leader was motionless and had no reaction at all. Could it be that their clan leader was killed? Thinking of this, they gasped. How was this possible? Swoosh! 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 In the sky, the elders moved quickly and arrived beside their clan leader in an instant. They quickly sensed the clan leader's clan leader. In the next moment, their scalps went numb. "Clan leader!" They roared out crazily, because they discovered that the clan chief's aura was already gone, his body ice cold. His life force was clearly extinguished. "No! Damn it, I don't believe it! The patriarch had an immortal body!" They roared crazily. In the distance, the Ting family's martial artists were dumbfounded. "Humph!" Lin Xian snorted coldly. "What immortal body? Under his great dragon sword spirit and heavenly secret god eyes, everything would be destroyed. Next, it's up to you old fellows. Kneel down obediently and I'll give you a quick death." Lin Xian's voice was cold, and the long sword in his hand flashed again. "Ah!" The elders roared madly. They had truly gone mad. They had gone too far. "Fight it out with him." The remaining 7 or 8 elders roared at the sky and charged over. Boom! Boom! A great battle broke out. However, Lin Xian did not hold back. At this moment, the heavenly fate divine eyes, great dragon sword spirit, and ancient dragon abyss sword were fully utilized by him. His speed was like that of a ghost, appearing and disappearing unpredictably. In the blink of an eye, he had killed 5 elders. The remaining 3 elders fled crazily. With another 2 slashes, the other 2 elders were split in half in the sky. In the end, only the second elder was left. He was also a peerless almighty. At this moment, his body was covered in blood, and his eyes were red like a demon. He did not expect the other party to be so powerful that he could kill so many elders in the blink of an eye. He could not believe it. He did not make a move. Instead, he roared crazily. "Great Ancestor! Supreme Elder!" He was really afraid. He knew that he was no match for the other party at all. However, the Ting family would not be so simple. They had their own foundation. Sure enough, a few powerful auras were awakened amidst the voice. This aura was too terrifying. It was like a prehistoric beast that crushed the void. It was even more terrifying than the previous elders and the Ting family's patriarch. The living fossil elders had come out. Seeing this, the Ting family's martial artists exclaimed. They knew that the Ting family was fine. Each of these living fossil elders had lived for more than 3,000 years. It could be said that they were very terrifying. Normally, they would not come out. They would only make a move when the family was in danger. Now that they had come out, they could suppress everything. The 5 living fossil elders stood in the air. Their hair hung down to their heels, and their faces were full of vicissitudes of life. They leaned on their walking sticks, and their bodies were trembling. Nevertheless, when they saw the scene in front of them and even the Ting family's patriarch who had been killed, they were all furious. They roared at the sky, and their bodies burst out with a biting cold aura. Their turbid eyes instantly became sharp like divine lamps, and they were extremely dazzling. "Who are you?" The 5 living fossils stared at Lin Xian, and the martial artists behind Lin Xian. They frowned very tightly. Buzz! All of a sudden, clouds and mist rolled in the sky. A huge human face appeared. This human face was very demonic. It looked like a human, but it was covered in scales. In particular, its eyes were purple and flickered with a strange light. As soon as this human face appeared, its aura was even more terrifying than the 5 living fossils combined. This was because it was the aura of an invincible king. "Greetings, great ancestor." At this moment, the 10 million martial artists of the Ting family respectfully bowed and congratulated him. Even the 5 living fossil elders in the sky bowed one after another. This was because this human face was the projection of their Ting family's great ancestor, an invincible king. In the sky, as soon as the invincible king's human face appeared, his purple eyes shot out 2 purple lightning bolts that struck Lin Xian. It contained the power and will of an invincible king, and it was very terrifying. The surrounding people were shocked, and even Hui Dao and the others felt cold all over. Lin Xian snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, the saint's hand bone appeared above his head, emitting the aura of a saint. In an instant, the two purple lightning bolts were destroyed. In the next moment, his expression was incomparably cold. At the same time, Xingtian, who was beside him, also shouted angrily and stood out. Very well! How dare you attack my young master? Do you want to die? His voice was like thunder, and it shook the surroundings. This was the aura of a saint. In the sky, the demonic human face ignored Xingtian. Instead, it stared at the saint's hand bone. In the next moment, his eyes shone brightly. He did not expect to encounter a saint's treasure. Perhaps this is the opportunity for me to break through. Buzz! Next to the human face, a terrifying hand appeared and grabbed downward as if it wanted to grab the saint's hand bone. You're courting death. Seeing this, Lin Xian's face completely darkened. Behind him, an elder of the immortal palace waved his hand when he saw this. Chapter 2399. Whoosh! A black mirror appeared in the sky and floated above his head. Then, a black ray of light flew out. It blasted towards the terrifying palm in the sky. Boom! The palm was instantly pierced through. Then, it turned into spiritual qi and dissipated in the void. Seeing this scene, the martial artists of the Ting family went crazy. They couldn't believe it. That was the palm of an invincible king. It was so terrifying that even living fossils couldn't resist it. However, the other party destroyed it easily. What exactly was that black mirror? In the sky, the demonic face was also angry and shocked. Damn it, how dare you destroy my attack? All of you must die. A cold killing intent appeared in his eyes. However, in the next moment, he was stunned. Not only was he stunned, but his demonic face was also filled with shock. This was because the second elder raised his hand and threw out a golden scroll. The aura of this scroll was too terrifying. Even the invincible kings were terrified. Lin Xian was also shocked. He felt that the aura on the scroll was very similar to the aura of his saint's hand bone. It should be something passed down by the saint. No wonder the invincible kings were afraid. Damn it, who are you? The demonic face didn't attack. Instead, he gritted his teeth and asked, Who are we? Don't you know now? That elder shouted coldly. The golden scroll above his head shone even more brightly. It even formed mysterious runes that surrounded the surroundings. What? It's you! When the demonic face saw the shape of those runes, his pupils immediately constricted. His purple eyes were filled with shock. Obviously, he recognized what it was. A smile appeared on Lin Xian's face when he saw this scene. Since they recognized him, things would be much easier. He didn't believe that the other party would dare to fight against Immortal Palace. So what if they were Invincible House of Kings? Immortal Palace had 6 protector elders, and all 6 of them were invincible kings. This was only the strength on the surface. Immortal Palace's foundation was probably terrifying. As expected, the demonic face was no longer arrogant. Instead, it asked in a deep voice, What do you want? You'll have to ask our palace master. Immortal Palace's elder said coldly. What? Palace master? The demonic face looked at Lin Xian in disbelief. However, in the next moment, he still asked, May I ask, Hall Master, what are your plans? I've said before that I'll let the Ting family live if I kill your patriarch and the 10 great elders. Now that the Ting family's patriarch was dead, only one of the 10 great elders was left. Tell him to obediently roll over and accept his death. What? Did he really have to kill all 10 elders? The Ting family's martial artists were shocked. The demonic face in the sky was also silent. Damn brat, you've gone too far. Second Elder Zhang roared crazily. The 5 living fossils didn't expect the other party to still want to kill them. Their faces darkened and their eyes emitted a biting, killing intent. Because they still didn't know what kind of power the other party was from. However, they didn't dare to act rashly. They could tell that their patriarch was extremely wary of the other party. Otherwise, with their old ancestor's character, he would have killed everyone with a single slap. However, their old ancestor didn't do that. This meant that the other party's identity was definitely not simple. In the sky, the demonic face was silent for a moment, then it asked, "Is what you said true? Are you willing to let the Teng family go?" "Of course, as long as you issue an apology to the Teng family and spread it throughout the Nine Li dynasty, I can let the Teng family go." "Okay, it's settled then." The demonic face nodded and said, "Do it then." "What?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned. They simply couldn't believe their ears. What did our great ancestor say? Do it? Are we really going to let the other party kill our only remaining second elder? God, what exactly is going on? At this moment, the Tang family's martial artists were all dizzy. The 5 living fossils were also dumbfounded. Why? Our great ancestor doesn't care? How's this possible? Who exactly is the other party? How can he make our great ancestor afraid? They dared not imagine. Second Elder's vision turned black, and he almost fainted. He looked at the figure in front of him, and his body trembled. Next, he turned around and fled. Humph! Seeing this, Lin Xian sneered in disdain, and a hint of coldness appeared in his eyes. As expected, the demonic face in the sky once again sent down 2 purple lightning bolts, directly killing Second Elder. What? Second Elder was killed! Seeing this, all the Tang family's martial artists didn't dare to say anything. The 5 living fossils' mouths also twitched. In the sky, the demonic face said, "Don't worry, I will announce to the entire Nine Li dynasty that I apologize to you." "That would be best," Lin Xian said coldly. Then he put away the ancient sword, turned around, and waved his hand. "Let's go." Behind him, the Immortal Palace's martial artists boarded the black demon ship one after another. Then, the black demon ship swayed, turned into a ray of black light, and disappeared into the sky. Below, the Tang family's martial artists were in a daze. Today's scene would probably become a nightmare for them for the rest of their lives. On the other side, Lin Xian and the others left the Tang family and set off for the Great Xia dynasty again. Lin Xian returned to his room and went into seclusion to comprehend the 5 elements sword. Although he had only used one sword in the previous battle, the power of the metal sword was beyond his expectations. It seemed that if the 5 elements sword was mastered, it would definitely be terrifying. At this moment, the Great Xia dynasty could be said to be in turmoil. All the sacred grounds, peerless sects, and powerhouse families in the 5 continents had rushed over. This was because the ancient tomb of a saint had appeared here. Moreover, there was the legend of the nest of 10,000 dragons in Zhongzhou. Every piece of news moved them. Therefore, countless powerhouses would come to the Great Xia dynasty. The martial artists of the Great Xia dynasty were extremely nervous. Especially the royal family of the Great Xia dynasty. They had mobilized all their forces. However, they weren't too worried. This was because they believed that even if those people came to look for treasures, they wouldn't dare to touch the royal family of the Great Xia dynasty. They had this foundation. After all, the royal family of the Great Xia dynasty had produced a great emperor. Moreover, there were extreme weapons in the palace. With the suppression of extreme weapons, they believed that no one would dare to cause trouble in the imperial capital. They also sent powerhouses to the ancient tomb of the saint. Moreover, they were the closest, so they had already sent people when the ancient tomb was first discovered. Not only the royal family, but all the major families in the Great Xia dynasty had also sent people. However, the ancient tomb of the saint was extraordinary. Even though they had cracked it for 1 or 2 months, they still couldn't crack it. In fact, they even triggered a trap that caused many powerhouses to fall. However, in the past few days, with the arrival of powerhouses from all over the world, some of the restrictions on the periphery of the ancient tomb were broken. Chapter 2400. In the past few days, with the arrival of experts from all over the world, some of the restrictions outside the ancient tomb had been removed. Therefore, the ruins outside the ancient tomb had also appeared in front of everyone. Although they were dilapidated, there might be 1 or 2 treasures after so many years. Therefore, those experts were searching the surrounding ruins. At this moment there were two groups of experts confronting each other in one of the ruins. Their auras were very heavy, and there were even countless cracks in the space between them, as if it would collapse at any time. Get lost, this is the territory of the Great Xia dynasty. The rest of you, leave! A middle-aged man shouted coldly, his body full of murderous intent. The people behind him also looked solemn. They were emitting a terrifying aura, and the weapons in their hands were shining with a cold light. It was as if they would start a fight at any moment. On the opposite side, there was also a group of people with powerful auras, and most of them were women. The leader was even more beautiful. Her appearance was like a fairy, and her purple dress shone brightly. She was like a fairy from the 9 heavens, descending to the mortal world. The woman in purple said indifferently, "This is an ancient ruin, and it doesn't belong to anyone. You want to take over this place just because you're from the Great Xia dynasty? Aren't you a little too overbearing?" "Humph. So what if you're overbearing?" At this moment, a young man in the opposite group snorted. Then, he held a long sword and stabbed it over. The sword flashed and turned into a long rainbow in the sky, quickly stabbing towards the woman in purple. Buzz! Seeing this scene, the woman in purple did not panic at all. The people behind her were also expressionless. When the long sword was close to her, the woman in purple slowly stretched out her hand and slapped it forward. With one slap, the wind and clouds changed. The long sword shattered, and the young man vomited blood and flew out, landing in the distance. The faces of those martial artists on the other side were filled with terror. This woman is so powerful! The young man who attacked just now was also a genius from their family, but he couldn't even take a single slap from her. Who is this person? Damn it, who are you? A middle-aged man asked. Jade Lake, Murong Qingqing. The woman in purple answered coldly. What? She's from the Jade Lake sacred ground. Hearing this, the faces of the people on the opposite side turned ugly. The Jade Lake sacred ground was an existence that could stand shoulder to shoulder with the royal clan of Grand Xia. However, it was nothing compared to the Jade Lake sacred ground. Therefore, in the next moment, the middle-aged man gritted his teeth. Humph, let's go. Soon these people left. A smile appeared on the corner of Murong Qingqing's mouth as she waved her hand and said, "He searched the entire ancient ruins, not missing a single detail." Yes, Saintess. The martial artists behind him moved quickly. Things like this often happened in the surrounding ruins. Not only the Jade Lake sacred ground, but the other sacred grounds of the eastern wilderness had also come, and their leaders were all saints and saintesses. Of course, the princes of Zhongzhou state also came. The experts from the clans of the western desert, northern plains, and southern ridge had also arrived. In a short period of time, it could be said that heroes and geniuses rose together. There were more battles in the past few days than in the past 10 years. There were often people who directly attacked without saying a word. Or if they were not convinced of each other's superiority, they would also start fighting. Boom! 2 figures soared into the sky, blasting apart a part of the world. In the distance, everyone exclaimed. That was the 5th prince of the 9 Li dynasty, right? Who was fighting with him? Judging from the lightning aura, it seemed to be the 10,000 Thunder Sacred Grounds saint. Haha, I've long heard that there are many outstanding people in Zhongzhou state. Today, I'll experience it for myself. A young man with a red giant sword on his back stood in the void and laughed loudly. He released a terrifying sword chi that pierced through all directions. Who are you? Someone in the crowd shouted coldly. It was the great Yen saint, Xiang Wentian. What? It's actually him. No wonder his aura was so powerful. Many of the older generation looked at the sky in shock. Humph, I'll fight you. In the distance, a green stream of light spun quickly and instantly arrived nearby. Then, the green light that filled the sky disappeared, and a handsome young man appeared above everyone. Who are you? Xiang Wentian asked coldly. He was tall and looked like a demon king, looking down on everyone. Great Xia dynasty, Marquis Qingyi. The person's voice was equally cold. What? It was actually Great Xia Dynasty's Marquis Qin Yi. The surrounding experts were shocked. They had heard that a very impressive young genius had appeared in the Great Xia Dynasty. At such a young age, he had been conferred the title of Marquis. One had to know that that was a status second only to the Marquis. Every single one of those kings and marquises had lived for 1,000 or 2,000 years, and were experts who had shocked both ancient and modern times. There were very few people who had been conferred the title of Marquis at such a young age like Marquis Qin Yi. He was definitely a peerless genius. Good, you're worthy of my attack. Xiang Wentian laughed loudly, and his sword chi surged into the sky. Most of them slashed towards Marquis Qin Yi. Marquis Qin Yi snorted coldly, and green light bloomed from his body like a demon king. The battle between the two was earth-shattering. There were many young people like this. At this moment, the saints of the various sacred grounds, the princes, and the geniuses of the aristocratic families were all unconvinced after meeting. Therefore, there were many exchanges. Ha 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 ha, old man, where are you going? Suddenly, a thunderous voice came from the sky, shaking everyone below and making them unable to stand steadily. These people raised their heads and looked at the sky in horror. Heavens, who was this? Just the voice alone was so terrifying? Needless to say, it must be a peerless expert. In the next moment, they saw an old man fleeing frantically in front of them. That old man's hair was disheveled, and his body was broken. There was blood at the corner of his mouth. At this moment, his body was burning with light as he fled quickly like a stream of light. What? It was a peerless mighty figure. A peerless mighty figure was actually fleeing? Who was it? Was he chasing after a peerless mighty figure? The surrounding experts were stunned. They didn't dare to believe it at all. From the current situation, although the major forces from all over the world had come, most of them were mighty figures, and the powerful ones were peerless powerhouses. The invincible king had yet to appear. In other words, the strongest person now was a peerless mighty figure. But now, a peerless mighty figure was actually being hunted down. This made them unable to believe it. Humph, old man, you can't escape. In the sky, a sneer came again. Immediately after, two auras rolled over from afar. One of them was shining brightly like a Buddha. The other half of the sky was as black as ink, as if a demon king had come out. Two completely opposite auras coexisted in the sky and rolled forward. Who was this person? What a terrifying aura! Sensing the phenomenon in the sky, everyone's scalps went numb. In the next moment, they were even more terrified because they saw a figure standing in the golden light and demonic sword. It was a very strange figure. Chapter 2401. This person's body was very tall, at least 3 meters tall. What was even more strange was that he had 4 hands and 2 heads. It was as if 2 people were sharing the same body. That was Middle Ground's twin kings. They did not expect that they would come as well. Many people were terrified, and their scalps went numb. When the others heard that name, they were also shocked. What? Were they the Middle Ground's twin kings? Legend had it that they were extremely terrifying and were very strange coexisting entities. The elder brother, the virtuous one, had the aura of light. The younger brother, the evil one, had the aura of darkness. The two of them shared the same body, but they could cultivate separately. It could be said that it was very strange. There was probably no other person like them in the entire world. At this moment, not only the older generation figures, but the saints and saintesses of the various sacred grounds also raised their heads and looked at the sky. Their eyes flickered, because they could feel that the aura of the Middle Ground's twin kings was extremely terrifying. They were not weaker than them. Moreover, the other party was equivalent to 2 people. If they really fought, it would be 1 against 2. Probably not many people could really contend against them. Old man, stay here. Above, the evil one sneered. Boundless demonic chi rolled and turned into 4 demonic pillars that rushed over. In an instant, the peerless powerhouse in the distance was trapped. He was trapped. All the martial artists below exclaimed, but the expression of the peerless powerhouse in the sky changed drastically. His palms moved, wanting to shatter the 4 demonic pillars. The red palms slapped out, instantly shattering the void in front of him. Endless red light swept through the 9 heavens like a wave. Boom! 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 Intense collisions sounded in the sky. 2 of the 4 demonic pillars were shattered, and the old man was able to escape. However, at this time, the Middle Ground's twin kings had already arrived near the old man. Old man, you still want to run? Stay here! The evil one slapped out, and a large black palm descended from the sky. The peerless old man resisted, and the 2 of them fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. However, at this time, the virtuous one also made his move. The sea of bitterness is boundless, repent and be saved. I really don't want to make a move, but you're better than me. Although he said that he was unwilling to make a move, the virtuous one's attack was not weak at all. There was a golden wheel in his hand, and when he swung it, golden lights filled the sky. They were like sharp swords that pierced through the void. The evil child and the good child, both of them were equivalent to supreme almighties. At this moment, the 2 of them were attacking together, and it was 2 against 1. Perhaps even peerless almighties would not be able to resist it. Sure enough, when the old man saw this scene, his face turned pale with fright. The next moment, he roared and waved his hand. Something appeared in his sleeve. That thing flickered with a 5-colored radiance. As soon as it appeared, it floated in front of him. The 5-colored radiance blocked the virtuous child's golden wheel. What was that? How terrifying! The martial artists below also exclaimed when they saw the 5-colored light. He didn't expect the old man to have such a precious treasure. The virtuous and evil children smiled when they saw this. Old man, we found this in the ruins. I didn't expect that you would dare to snatch it. Now, kneel down obediently and hand over the treasure. I can give you a quick death. You'd better listen to him. Otherwise, you'll end up in a miserable state. The virtuous son also said indifferently. Hack! This was clearly found by me. You were jealous and wanted to snatch it away. You 2 monsters, kill me if you have the ability. Otherwise, you won't have the chance to get this ancient treasure in your lifetime. Monsters? You called us monsters? The virtuous child's face was gloomy, while the evil child roared angrily. Half of the sky was filled with demonic aura. The 2 of them hated it when others called them monsters the most, because it was unbearable for them. Old man, you've angered me. Today, I will definitely kill you. The evil child roared angrily. Boundless demonic aura rolled in his hand, forming a death scythe. Black aura surrounded the scythe, emitting fluctuations that made one's heart tremble. On the virtuous child's side, there was also a golden wheel in his hand. As it spun, heaven and earth shattered. Die for me, you old bastard! The evil child roared angrily and quickly slashed out with the death scythe in his hand. A huge black blade light shone in the sky, forming a crack that was almost 10,000 meters long. Boom! The old man was instantly sent flying. The void behind him was completely shattered, and he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. Fortunately, the 5-colored radiance in front of him blocked this attack. He was only affected by the impact. However, just as he stopped, his expression changed again. That was because a golden wheel had appeared above his head at some point in time. It kept spinning like a sun. At that moment, it pressed down mercilessly. Heavenly treasure wheel! It bloomed with tens of thousands of rays of light, and it even carried a trace of divine power. It directly descended like a golden mountain, shattering the void. Boom! In the vast expanse, the peerless old man used the 5-colored divine light above his head to defend himself. At the same time, countless shields and armor rushed out of his body. However, he was still sent flying, and the injuries in his body were even more serious. One had to admit that the virtuous child and the evil child were too terrifying. Each of them could contend against a peerless mighty figure individually. At that moment, the 2 of them attacked together, causing the old man to feel an unprecedented crisis. When the surrounding powerhouses from all over the world saw this scene, they were also extremely shocked. Their scalps went numb. That was because they realized that the twin kings of Zhongzhou were too terrifying. They were simply invincible existences. Perhaps only extremely terrifying peerless mighty figures could suppress them. Ordinary peerless mighty figures would not be a match for them at all. At that moment, the saints and princes also had solemn expressions on their faces. They realized that the twin kings were definitely a peerless enemy. Below, everyone watched as the battle between the two sides continued. And it was getting more and more terrifying. The entire sky was completely destroyed, and violent energy surged for 100,000 kilometers. However, the people who came this time were all powerhouses, so the aftermath of the energy was blocked by the light curtain that everyone had formed together. Therefore, those people did not retreat and continued to watch from a close distance. After 300 moves, the old man screamed in pain, and one of his arms was cut off by the death scythe. After 400 moves, he was hit by the heavenly treasure wheel, and half of the bones in his body were shattered. Finally, after 600 moves, the five-colored ancient treasure was snatched away by the twin kings of Zhongzhou. After 650 moves, the old man was killed. What? A peerless mighty figure was killed? Many young martial artists exclaimed in surprise. Even the older generation figures felt their scalps go numb. They realized that the twin kings of Zhongzhou were too terrifying. Moreover, they seemed to be mentally unstable. In the future, they must never mention the word monster in front of them. Boom! The old man's corpse fell from the sky and pierced through the ground. The surrounding people retreated one after another, afraid that they would be stained by the blood. After all, that was the blood of a peerless mighty figure. A single drop could kill an ordinary king. Even ordinary mighty figures did not dare to touch it. Chapter 2402. In the sky, Zhongzhou's twin kings held the five-colored light and laughed heartily. Only then did everyone see clearly that the colorless light was a fragment. It seemed to be left behind by a broken shield. Just a fragment was enough to block Zhongzhou's twin kings' attack. One could only imagine how terrifying an intact shield would be. Needless to say, this should be the ancient castle found in the nearby ruins. Hurry up and look for it again. The surrounding people were excited. If they could find such an ancient treasure, they would be rich. Therefore, many people were looking for it. In the sky, Zhongzhou's twin kings also snorted coldly. Their bodies flashed and disappeared into one of the ancient ruins. Seeing Zhongzhou's twin kings leave, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. They had no choice. The other party's aura was too powerful, like the combination of a demon and a Buddha. However, in less than half an incense stick's worth of time, the sky changed again. A terrifying aura came from afar. It was like a wave, crashing in all directions. The sound was very loud, as if 10,000 thunderbolts were surging. All the cultivators around the fish raised their heads and looked into the distance. Then, they cried out in alarm. That was because there was a sky full of light swaying in front of them. It was like a divine red light, flying over quickly. A large amount of clouds and mist rolled, and roars could be heard. A terrifying aura spread across the world. Those were demonic beasts. An old man cried out in alarm. The others felt their scalps go numb. Could it be that the demonic beasts had arrived? At this moment, everyone narrowed their eyes. Soon someone snorted coldly. It's not the demonic beasts. Look, there are people sitting on those demonic beasts. They're humans. Heavens, which faction are they from? Why are they riding on such terrifying demonic beasts? Those people were stunned. In the sky, those demonic beasts rushed over quickly. They stepped on the void, and their bodies were covered in auspicious clouds. They were extremely terrifying. When they got closer, everyone realized that those demonic beasts were extremely huge. Each of them was like a mountain, and their bodies emitted a terrifying aura. Not only that, but they were all wearing armor. Obviously, they were demonic beasts that had been tamed by humans. At the front was a gale beast. It was a demonic bird. It was extremely huge, and its entire body was green. A terrifying gale surrounded its body. It spread its wings and green light surrounded it. A young man in green armor sat on top of it. His aura was extremely sharp. Not only that, but there was also a large flag behind him that was fluttering in the wind. The banner was 1,000 meters long, and runes revolved around it. It was obvious that it was a terrifying treasure. What is this? Everyone's gaze followed the large flag. Soon, they saw 2 words written on the flag that was fluttering in the wind. Light-shaking realm. This was the wavering light holy land. Everyone's scalp went numb. They were all too familiar with the people of the Eastern Barren Territory. The faces of the people from the other continents also changed. They had all heard about the wavering light holy land. This was an extremely terrifying sacred ground. It was the only sacred ground that had never produced a great emperor but possessed an extreme weapon. Boom! Boom! After arriving in the vicinity, the hundreds of Yao kings in the sky quickly descended. The people below automatically dispersed, creating a large vacuum. Although there were only a few hundred demon kings, there were quite a number of people who came. This was because some demon kings could have hundreds of people standing on them. For example, there was a flying python that was nearly 10,000 meters long. It circled in the sky like a winged dragon. Among them, the most eye-catching one was a demon king that looked like a qilin. There was a young man sitting on it. He was surrounded by 108 halos like a god. He was very dazzling. The wavering light saint! Everyone exclaimed. That's right. The young man who looked like a god was a very famous peerless genius in the eastern wilderness, the wavering light saint. Beside the qilin, there was a green phoenix that was surrounded by multicolored light. There was also a woman sitting on it. She was extremely beautiful. She was the wavering light saint. As soon as the wavering light saint appeared, she attracted the attention of countless young geniuses. It couldn't be helped because the wavering light saint was too beautiful. They couldn't take their eyes off her. Boom! However, at this moment, the sound of thunder came from the distant sky again. Everyone's gaze shifted away from the wavering light saint and looked into the distance. Is that a dragon? Many people exclaimed. Because in the distance, 9 huge black figures had appeared. Each of them was a few thousand meters long, and shone with spiritual light. They were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. They were surrounded by auspicious clouds. This scene was like a giant dragon. No. Soon, an elder shook his head. It wasn't a dragon, but it was close. It was a flood dragon. 9 dragons pulling a chariot. Heavens, which family are these people from? Isn't it too terrifying? They're using flood dragons to pull their chariots. How extravagant! How extravagant! Many people exclaimed. At this moment, the saints of the various sacred grounds also turned their heads. The people of the wavering light sacred ground who had just landed also looked up at the sky. Behind the 9 flood dragons, there were mighty chariots that were pulling them. On the chariots, runes flashed and formed a mysterious ancient word. Yi. It's the Yi family. The Yi family of the ancients. They're here too! Everyone exclaimed. The Yi family was a family that had produced a great emperor. It was an extremely terrifying ancient's family. For a moment, everyone's heart sank. Roar! 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 The 9 flood dragons came close and stopped in midair. They roared at the sky, and their terrifying voices shook the 9 heavens, causing the blood of the people below to churn. What terrifying flood dragons! Everyone's heart trembled. However, the terrifying monster kings of the wavering light sacred ground who had just landed also roared as if they were demonstrating their power. Boom! Boom! It was as if thousands of beasts were roaring in the sky. Terrifying cracks even appeared. Wavering light, you're here so early! At this moment, a majestic voice came from one of the chariots in the sky. The Yi family is not late either. Below, there was also a response from the savage beasts. Peerless figures. Although there were only 2 voices, they were even more terrifying than the roar of the beasts. Everyone's heart trembled. Needless to say, those were 2 extremely terrifying figures. They did not expect that both the wavering light's sacred ground and the Yi family would send such terrifying figures. It seemed that they were determined to win this time's saint's tomb. However, it was not over yet. After the Yi family, countless rays of light flew over. One by one, the terrifying sacred ground's great sects and aristocratic families arrived. The sky was filled with rays of light. Countless demonic beasts roared, and divine lightning fell from the sky. The chariots were filled with a savage aura. It was really a grand occasion. However, those terrifying scenes only lasted for a while before those people from the major forces began to descend. They explored the surrounding ancient ruins. Therefore, the sky gradually regained its tranquility. However, everyone's heart could not calm down. Almost all of them had arrived. A few young people heaved a sigh of relief. Although the battle had not yet begun, just this scene alone made their blood boil. This was only the saint's tomb. If the nest of 10,000 dragons appeared, the scene would probably be 100 times more spectacular. Was the nest of 10,000 dragons really there? Chapter 2403. Was the nest of 10,000 dragons really there? Yes, it was rumored that it was the land of the dragons. Did dragons really exist? Many people exclaimed. It was as if another fluctuation appeared in the sky. Everyone raised their heads again. Someone else was coming. Indeed, someone else was coming. A large black ship was flying quickly in the sky. Endless dark light surrounded it, and demonic clouds rolled as if it had come from the underworld. What kind of force was this? Everyone frowned. The other party only had a large black ship. It could be said that it was much smaller than the remote antiquity families and the sacred ground. However, the aura emitted by this large black ship was incomparably terrifying. Therefore, for a moment, it made people confused. The large black ship flew in the sky, casting down tens of thousands of rays of light. Its appearance attracted the attention of many people. For a moment, many people pointed at it and discussed animatedly. This ship was the black demon ship that Lin Xian and the others were on. At this moment, the black demon ship gradually slowed down. The figures on it swayed and looked down, exclaiming one after another. There were so many people down there. How terrifying! That was a chariot pulled by 9 dragons. Heavens, that was the Yi family. Voices sounded one after another. Xingtian also stood up and came to Lin Xian's door. He said respectfully, "Young master, we're here." "Got it." Lin Xian's voice came from the room. In the next moment, the door opened, and Lin Xian walked out. It was the aura of the 5 elements' power. Xingtian was surprised when he sensed the remaining aura on Lin Xian's body. It seemed that the young master had mastered the 5 elements sword. To be honest, he was too shocked. Although he knew that the young master was talented, it was too fast. After all, the 5 elements sword was a heaven-grade technique. It would probably take decades to master it. However, Lin Xian actually mastered it in a month or 2. It was really shocking. After Lin Xian came out, the Crimson Dragon also came out. It laughed like an old monster. "Haha, Ben Huang has finally developed a few new formations. Kid, I'll show you their power later. Damn, this is a flood dragon!" Before Lin Xian could reply, the Crimson Dragon exclaimed. Not only him, but many people on the Black Demon ship also looked over. After all, the sight of 9 dragons pulling a carriage was too spectacular. 9 huge Jiao dragons circled in the air. Their scales shone with a cold light as if they were made of divine iron. "Which clan was this?" Lin Xian asked. Xingtian said. "It was the Yi family. The runes on the chariot were exclusive to the Yi family. The Yi family, a family of the remote antiquity." Lin Xian narrowed his eyes when he heard that. Previously, he had interacted with the Yi clan. He even had a friendly relationship with a genius from the Yi clan. Yang Qi wondered if Leaf Dao Denier had come this time. In addition to Yi Wudao, there was also Gu Santong from the Gu clan. He was the one who had helped the All Beginnings Holy Maiden become the All Beginnings Holy Lands Holy Maiden. Other than that, there were also a few enemies. For example, the 10,000 Lightning Saint Sun and the other branches of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Toba family. Wait. Thinking of this, the corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a smile. I wonder if those old friends of mine have come? In the next moment, he asked, Who has come? Young master, there are quite a lot of people here this time. In addition to the Yi family, Alcade, Jade Lake, and other sacred grounds have also come. Not only that, but those peerless great sects have also come. It could be said that all the heroes had gathered. Have the people from the Gu clan come? Yes. By the way, have the people from the Purple Dawn Holy Land come? Lin Xian asked. He remembered Xinjingqiu. She had entered the Purple Dawn Holy Land. It had been a long time since he had seen that little girl. He hadn't seen her yet, but she should be coming. Xingtian said. Lin Xian nodded. His eyes flickered. It seemed that the saint's tomb had really caused a big commotion this time. However, he knew that a large part of it was caused by the nest of 10,000 dragons. After all, the saint's tomb alone was not enough to alarm the entire world. He looked down, and the light in his eyes became sharper and sharper. It seemed that the trip to the tomb this time would not be simple. That was because there were too many powerhouses below. Some of them were not weaker than the Immortal Palace. Lin Xian's eyes flickered. The black demon ship floated in the void and did not come down. The people below were extremely puzzled. What was going on? What was this person doing? Indeed, they were very puzzled. That was because until now, they had not recognized the other party's identity. The other party did not send anyone out, nor did they land. Instead, they floated in the sky. At this moment, a tall man rushed up and asked coldly, May I know which sect you are from? Immortal Palace. Lin Xian looked down and said indifferently, What? Immortal Palace. Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Immortal Palace, what kind of organization was that? They had never heard of it. Since it was named Immortal, it seemed that its background was not simple. They discussed animatedly. It couldn't be helped. Immortal Palace had been very low-key before. Although they were powerful, not many people really knew about them. Therefore, at this moment, when this name came out, many people were puzzled. Originally, they thought that it would be some unparalleled sect or peerless sacred ground. However, they did not expect that the other party was not one. Instead, it was an organization that they had never heard of. What Immortal Palace? At this moment, someone sneered. Even the clan of the ancients did not dare to use the name Immortal. Who do you think you are? How dare you call yourself Immortal Palace? That's right. Who knows if there are immortals in this world? Aren't you too arrogant to use the name Immortal Palace? For a moment, many people sneered. Those who came here were all the top forces in the world. Naturally, they were not convinced. Why did the other party dare to use the name Immortal Palace? Even the clan of the ancients did not dare to do so. Buzz. Pfft. Hearing these words, the people of Immortal Palace on the Black Demon ship frowned. Lin Xian snorted coldly. In the next moment, Ghostly, who was behind him, suddenly disappeared. Several screams came from the crowd below. Ah! 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 Pfft! Several heads flew up, and blood spurted out. This scene caused panic on the ground below. Humph! At this moment, Ghostly's voice also sounded. Those who dared to provoke Immortal Palace would be killed without mercy. What? There's an assassin! Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were shocked. The others shouted angrily. Damn it, do you want to start a war with us? This scene attracted the attention of everyone in the surroundings. In an instant, the various sacred grounds, peerless sects, and those aristocratic families all looked over. Among them, some of the saints and saintesses frowned when they saw this scene. What was the background of Immortal Palace? How dare they attack directly? Moreover, the other party's strength was not bad. He killed several geniuses in an instant. Most likely, this was an extremely terrifying killer. However, the clans that had been killed were enraged. What kind of joke was this? The other party dared to attack them? They were courting death. Moreover, what was even more despicable was that this was a public slap to their faces. Chapter 2404. If they did not fight back and kill the other party, how were they going to survive in the future? One had to know that the people here were all top forces. Therefore, they could not swallow their pride, and they could not afford to lose face like this. Boom! The martial artists from these families shouted coldly, and a powerful aura swept out, causing everyone to retreat in fear. The terrifying airwave turned into a sharp sword, slashing in all directions. Ghostly sneered and quickly retreated. In an instant, he retreated to the black demon ship and looked down coldly. Damn it, go to hell! Immortal Palace? How dare you kill our people? You're dead meat! Among them, a young man roared. He formed a seal with both hands and spat out balls of flame from his mouth. The terrifying flames soared into the sky as if they could burn everything. The entire void was completely melted. The surrounding people also kept retreating, their faces full of fear. What a terrifying flame! Humph! However, Ghostly sneered disdainfully. In the next moment, his pale hand reached out and grabbed in front of him. In an instant, the divine flames in the sky were extinguished. Not only that, the void split open, and a black claw crossed the space and appeared in front of the young man. In the next moment, it hit the young man. Bang! The young man vomited blood and flew backward, smashing into a mountain in the distance, and shattering 2 peaks. What? How could this be? When the surrounding people saw this scene, they were shocked. However, the people from the other 2 forces had ugly expressions. Damn it, who are you? Do you know that we're from 5 Elements Palace? Below, the martial artists roared. 5 Elements Palace was a large sect in eastern wilderness. They cultivated the 5 Elements technique, and were a very terrifying sect. They did not expect that someone would dare to challenge them. Moreover, they did not know who the other party was. This made them extremely angry. The people on the other side also sneered. We're from the 9 Heavens sacred ground. Hurry up and kneel down and apologize. Otherwise, when the experts of our sacred ground and the saint arrive, you're dead meat. 9 Heavens sacred ground? They're from this sacred ground. The surrounding people were in an uproar. They did not expect that the people who were killed would have such a powerful background. In fact, it made sense. Those who could stand here were all from sacred grounds or large sections. Ordinary families would not dare to come close. I don't care about your 9 Heavens holy ground or 5 Elements Palace. Since you dare to provoke my immortal palace, there is only one outcome. At this moment, another cold snort came from the black ship. The next moment, Huidao also flew down. He stood in the void and looked around. Those who refused to submit could come up and die. Damn it! They had gone too far. The cultivators from 5 Elements Palace and 9 Heavens holy ground were enraged. When had they ever suffered such contempt? In the next moment, the people from the 2 forces quickly attacked. A middle-aged man from the 5 Stars Palace waved his hand and shot out black water that filled the sky. The water surged in the sky and turned into a black flood dragon that pounced over. On the other side, the people from the 9 Heavens holy ground snorted coldly as they displayed a terrifying skill. An immortal palace condensed in the sky and descended from the sky, trying to suppress Huidao and Ghostly. Humph! Huidao snorted coldly. He pulled out the full moon scimitar from his waist and slashed out directly. One saber slashed toward the sky, while the other slashed forward. The 2 saber lights seemed to have come from the sky, bringing with them an astonishing aura. Boom! As the saber fell, the black flood dragon in the sky was split into 2 halves. It wailed and scattered in all directions. With another slash, the 9 Heavens immortal palace above was directly split into pieces. Bang! 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 As for the 2 people who had attacked, they were retreating non-stop. Their faces were pale. They looked at this scene and were shocked. Damn it, it's impossible! How could they be so powerful? They were about to go crazy. Who are they? How could they have so many masters? When the other experts saw this scene, they also frowned. This immortal palace is not simple. On the Black Demon ship, Lin Xian and the others looked at this scene and smiled. Very good, this kind of appearance is very suitable for Immortal Palace. It's just right to deter these people. Anyway, Immortal Palace had changed their strategy and did not intend to continue hiding. Whoosh! At this time, a white light flashed on Lin Xian's shoulder, and the snow-white monkey jumped out. It looked forward with its big black eyes and blinked excitedly. Whoa, whoa, whoa! The snow-white monkey pulled Lin Xian's hair and pointed forward anxiously. When Lin Xian saw this scene, he asked softly, "Why? Is there a treasure ahead?" The snow-white monkey nodded and seemed to be urging. Lin Xian said with a smile, "You little guy, don't you have a treasure bowl? Go get it yourself." Little White puffed up its cheeks and sat on Lin Xian's shoulder. It took off the broken bowl on its head and muttered something. It looked like a little charlatan. Gradually, its body emitted a white light. Qian Fang's small bowl also emitted a mysterious energy. In the next moment, a light flashed and a treasure appeared in the small bowl. It was a jade pendant, but only half of it was. The qilin carved on it was also only half. However, there was a savage aura on it. It should be an ancient treasure. Seeing that it was really caught, Lin Xian was surprised. The surrounding people also exclaimed. The snow-white monkey was very happy and kept clapping its hands. What kind of method is this? Telekinesis? Universe shift? The surrounding Immortal Palace martial artists were also stunned. They had seen the snow-white monkey before and thought that it was only used to act cute. They didn't expect it to have such a method. It was simply a sharp weapon to snatch treasures. Lin Xian was also surprised because he realized that this treasure was not simple. It seemed that Little White's strength had increased recently. However, thinking about it, it made sense. After eating so many treasures every day, it would be strange if it didn't grow. Ah! Damn it! Who did this to him? Who dares to snatch my treasure? I'll definitely kill him! I don't want to do it. Obediently give me the treasure and kowtow 10 times, and I'll spare your life. 2 voices sounded. One was as crazy as a demon king, and the other was as deep as a god. The 2 voices exploded in the air, shattering the sky. What's going on? What happened? All the surrounding experts were stunned. That was because the voices were too terrifying. In the next moment, they looked around. Soon, they saw countless rays of light rushing out from the distance. Half of the sky turned into black demonic clouds, while the other half was golden as if a Buddha had descended. Those were the twin kings of Middle Ground. Heavens, who dares to oppose the twin kings of Middle Ground? Are they not afraid of death? Is it those saints and saintesses? Cries of surprise sounded one after another. It seemed that someone had snatched the twin kings' treasures. Those people were too shocked. This was because not long ago, the Central Continent's twin kings had killed the peerless Almighty in front of everyone. That method was shocking. They didn't expect that not long after, someone dared to provoke them. Chapter 2405. Golden waves and billowing demonic aura covered the entire sky. This scene attracted everyone's attention. Damn it, who was it that stole my treasure? Was it you? The twin kings were domineering, and they stared at a martial artist. This was also an old man, and he quickly shook his head. However, he was sent flying by the demonic aura in the sky. Was it you? They warned another young man. This young man snorted coldly and ignored them. You're courting death. You're not answering. You're suspicious. The twin kings were furious. The evil one waved his hand, and a black demonic aura appeared and shot forward. The demonic aura was fast and accurate, and it arrived in front of the young man in an instant. Whoosh! The crowd exclaimed. The twin kings of Middle Ground were too domineering, and they attacked without saying anything. Whoosh! The young man's body swayed, and he instantly dodged the terrifying attack. The next moment, he looked forward, and his aura suddenly erupted. A terrifying aura rushed out, and its power was no weaker than the Twin Kings of Middle Ground. "Who are you?" The Twin Kings frowned when they felt the other party's aura. "The Taishan Sex Saint." A cold voice sounded. The crowd exclaimed. They did not expect the Twin Kings of Middle Ground to meet a young saint. Most likely, there would be a world-shaking battle. The crowd was excited. The Twin Kings of Middle Ground snorted coldly. So what if he was the Taishan Saint? "Tell me quickly, did you steal my treasure?" "Humph, do you think I care about your treasure?" The Taishan Saint snorted coldly. "I'll know whether you stole it or not when I see it." The evil one stretched out a black demonic claw and grabbed at the Taishan Saint. Seeing this, the Taishan Saint was furious. How dare the other party attack him? The next moment, he waved his hand, and a shocking light lit up the sky. It was like a shocking divine light that rushed up. In an instant, the black demonic aura was split open. "If you dare to be presumptuous again, don't blame me for being impolite." The Taishan Saint's cold voice sounded. "You're courting death." The evil one was furious. The good one said solemnly, "Brother, stop. It's not him. He doesn't have the aura of that treasure." "Then who was it? Was it you?" The evil kid looked in another direction and stretched out his palm. However, in the next moment, a shocking sword she rushed out and pressed down like a mountain. The two collided in the sky, releasing a shocking aura. What? Someone actually blocked the attack of the Central State Twin Kings. Who was this person? In the next moment, the crowd cried out in surprise. It was the Saint Son of Dian. "It's not him." The virtuous son shook his head. Hearing this, the evil son immediately gave up on his opponent. The next moment, he attacked again. In an instant, one figure after another appeared, and the crowd cried out in surprise. Their cries of surprise even shook the entire world. The 10,000 Thunder Holy Sun, Saintess of all beginnings. The 7th Prince of the Skyscraper. The 3rd Prince of Yinshang. One by one, the young geniuses appeared and stood in the void, causing the entire void to distort. These people's eyes were cold. They frowned as they looked at the Central State's Twin Kings. Even though the other party was strong, he was way too brazen, wasn't he? To think that he would dare to strike out at these supreme geniuses one after another. What was he trying to do? For a moment, the atmosphere was incomparably heavy. However, the Twin Kings did not pay any attention to these people. Among them, the virtuous son's eyes suddenly burst with a piercing cold light. His eyes flickered as he turned his head to look into the distance. There was a large black ship there. Then, he said, "Brother, I've found him. He's on that large black ship." "What, a large black ship?" Hearing this, the evil son's eyes bloomed with a piercing cold light, like two black heavenly blades that directly pierced over. The void in front of him broke open, and the evil son's demonic aura surged into the sky. It was as if he had turned into a beautiful demon king. Whoosh! The Twin Kings of Zhongzhou's figure flashed and directly rushed over. Were they going to attack? The Saint Son of Myriad Thunder was standing in that direction. When he saw this scene, his face turned gloomy. Although the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou were powerful, if they really wanted to attack, he would not hold back. Boom! An endless sea of lightning surged in his body, and he was about to attack. However, soon, he was stunned. That was because he found that the Twin Kings were very fast, and had passed by him in an instant. It seemed that they were not going to attack him. Therefore, in the next moment, he suddenly turned around and looked behind him. He wanted to see who the other party was going to attack. He wasn't the only one. The other saints and princes also turned to look. The surrounding powerhouses were also staring intently. The next moment, they exclaimed in surprise. It was that large black ship. They were attacking that large black ship. Was that the organization that called itself Immortal Palace? Everyone was shocked. However, the 9 Heavens Divine Emperor and the people of the 5 Elements sect sneered. Humph, Let's see what Immortal Palace will do. They should be beaten down in an instant. At that time, I'd like to see if they still have the face to call themselves Immortal Palace. For a moment, everyone was discussing animatedly. On the large black ship, Lin Xian frowned. In front of him, Ghostly and Hui Dao shouted coldly, and their auras suddenly erupted. Damn you, stop right there! Ghostly waved his hand and took out the white bone banner. Boom! Endless vengeful souls and malicious ghosts screamed miserably. The entire space turned into a ghost realm, and everyone's scalps went numb. Hui Dao, who was at the side, slashed out 3 times. The terrifying blade light tore through the void and formed a fan shape as it slashed forward. Humph! How dare you block my way! You're courting death! The evil son shouted coldly. He raised his hand and slashed forward with the death scythe. The virtuous son also activated the celestial treasure wheel in his hand. Tens of thousands of rays of light danced in the air like a golden Milky Way. Boom! Boom! In the sky, the sound of violent collisions rang out. Terrifying energy erupted and swept out in all directions. After that attack, Ghostly and Hui Dao kept retreating. The qi and blood in their bodies were tumbling. Zhongzhou's twin kings only slowed down a little, but they were still flying forward. The strength of that attack was immediately determined. Seeing that scene, everyone exclaimed in surprise. They had to admit that the twin kings were too powerful. Both Ghostly and Hui Dao had shown their powerful strength before. They were definitely young top talents. But now, the two of them could not stop the twin kings. One could only imagine how terrifying the twin kings were. Damn it! Ghostly's face darkened when he saw that. The next moment, a cold light appeared in his eyes. Whoosh! Whoosh! The black robe on his body suddenly fluttered, and a powerful and terrifying force erupted from his body. It was as if he had turned into a ghost king. The evil son's face changed when he felt that aura, but he still snorted. How dare you compete with me in terms of aura? The virtuous son shook his head slightly. No, brother, this is not devil chi, but ghost chi. He cultivates the path of ghost. Be careful not to be entangled by those vengeful souls. Otherwise, you'll have nightmares at night. Chapter 2406. He cultivates the path of ghost. Be careful not to be entangled by those vengeful spirits, lest you have nightmares at night. Although it was a reminder, the virtuous son was not too worried. He even teased him a little. Humph, who cares about ghost energy? Even if he's the ghost king, I can still tear him apart today. The evil son snorted coldly. His face was ferocious, and the death scythe in his hand became even more terrifying. It slashed forward with a huge shadow. Ghostly waved the white bone banner and fought with him. On the other side, Hui Dao was fighting against the virtuous son. The two of them were also very fierce. The battle broke out, and it was very terrifying. Everyone around watched the battle and discussed animatedly. However, not long after, Ghostly and Hui Dao were pushed back again. This time, blood flowed from the corners of their mouths. You two can't do it. Ask the powerhouses on the big ship to come down. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing all of you. The evil son's voice was cold. The others felt their scalps go numb. The twin kings were too terrifying. Even the saints and saintesses might not be able to defeat them. Damn it, how dare you underestimate us? Hearing that, Hui Dao and Ghostly were instantly furious. The two of them still had trump cards that they had not used. In the next moment, the two of them were about to attack. On the black demon ship, Peacock also snorted coldly and wanted to attack. However, she was stopped by Lin Xian. This guy is a little special. We just arrived, so we can't fight him head on. We have to use some special methods. Let me do it, Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Then, his figure flickered, and he went to the corner below. Whoosh! Soon, he arrived in front of Hui Dao and Ghostly. Seeing another figure coming down from the black demon ship, everyone was surprised and began to discuss animatedly. Is Immortal Palace going to send more people? Previously, when they joined forces with Ghostly to attack the Twin Kings, they did not think much of it. After all, the Twin Kings could be dealt with as 2 people. However, it was different now that it was 3 against 2. Even if they won, it would be an unfair victory. Besides, these people were all young prodigies and peerless powerhouses. Everyone's heart was filled with pride. They didn't like this kind of fighting style where they outnumbered their opponents. Immortal Palace, how dare they use such despicable tactics? The people from the 5 Elements sect sneered. The martial artists from the 9 Heavens' holy ground also had looks of disdain on their faces. How dare they compare themselves with our holy ground? The difference was too great. Discussions broke out one after another. However, there were a few people in the crowd who frowned. He didn't even make a sound. This was because they recognized the figure in front of them. Of course, this was only a small number. In the vast sea of martial artists, it was practically negligible. Seeing this scene, the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou were also stunned. Then, the evil one sneered disdainfully. What? You want to outnumber me? Come on. The 3 of you are not enough. Let's start with 10. I'm going to kill you all today. He was extremely arrogant, and did not put the 3 people in front of him in his eyes at all. I'll give you one last chance to live. Kneel down obediently and hand over our things. The virtuous one said in a deep voice. At this moment, his expression was like that of an enlightened monk, his face full of compassion. However, everyone knew that when the benevolent son took action, he was not merciful at all. Everyone thought it would be 3 against 2, but soon they were stunned. Because when Hui Dao and Ghostly saw Lin Xian coming down, they respectfully shouted, "Boss! We've just arrived, so we don't have to risk our lives. If you want to fight, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future," Lin Xian said indifferently. Yes. The 2 responded and did not attack again. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. What's going on? Isn't it 3 against 2? Also, who is this young man? How can he make 2 young supreme talents so obedient in an instant? For a moment, everyone was speculating about Lin Xian's identity. They were very curious. Could it be that he's another top expert in Immortal Palace? Come on, hurry up and attack. I'm not afraid of you. The evil one said coldly. Okay, I'll play with you. Lin Xian took a step forward, and the aura on his body became fierce. However, Ghostly and Hui Dao did not attack. The 2 of them retreated to the Black Demon ship. What? He wants to fight one-on-one? Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. They did not expect that it was not 3 against 2. It was a one-on-one battle. This young man wants to challenge the Twin Kings alone? God, who is he? I'm afraid that even the saints and saintesses would not dare to do this. Boy, who are you? The Twin Kings of Zhongzhou darkened their faces. They felt insulted. No one had ever dared to challenge them alone. I'm their boss. The thing you want is in my hands. As Lin Xian spoke, he stretched out his hand and a half-jade pendant appeared. Seeing this, the twin monarchs were thoroughly enraged. Damn it, you really took our things! Boy, you're dead meat. In your next life, be a sensible person. The benevolent son also looked cold. You want to kill me? Who do you think you are? How dare you kill me? Lin Xian snorted disdainfully. As soon as this voice came out, everyone around was stunned and could not believe their ears. God, what is this boy saying? How can he be so arrogant? Could it be that he doesn't know the Twin Kings? That must be the case. Seeing that this boy is in that immortal palace, his status should not be low, but I didn't expect him to be so arrogant. He doesn't even know the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou. It seems that this so-called immortal palace is really nothing much. When the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou heard this, they were furious. Among them, the evil one said coldly, Boy, listen carefully, I'm the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou. We're invincible in Zhongzhou and are the strongest prodigies of the younger generation. How about it, do you recognize us now? I'll give you one last chance. Kneel down and accept your death, and I'll give you a quick death. Otherwise, you'll taste the pain of being devoured by 100 ghosts. Twin Kings of Zhongzhou? Hearing this, Lin Xian narrowed his eyes. He had heard of this name before. However, he had his own plans. The next moment, he snorted coldly and showed a look of disdain. What Twin Kings of Zhongzhou? In my opinion, you're just a two-headed monster. How dare a thing like you, who is neither human nor ghost, come here and make a fool of yourself? Get lost. What? His words were like a bolt from the blue, causing the surrounding people to feel dizzy. Even the saints and saintesses furrowed their brows. Who is this guy? Isn't he too arrogant? Humph, he doesn't know what's good for him. I thought he was a genius, but I didn't expect him to be an idiot. The saints and saintesses snorted coldly. They did not know Lin Xian, so they made a judgment at that moment. However, there were a few people who did not think so. In the void, a woman's body was covered in light and a chaotic aura hung down. She looked very mysterious. Her eyes flickered as she looked ahead and smiled bitterly. This guy is still so arrogant. Chapter 2407. On another mountain peak, a beautiful woman in purple also had a trace of a smile in her eyes. Beside her, a few young women said, "Saintess, do you really not need us to do anything?" A black-haired woman beside them also shook her head with a helpless expression. "Junior sister, I really don't understand. Why do you like him? This kid is so arrogant. Who knows when he will be slapped to death?" In the sky, 9 flood dragons were circling, and there were chariots behind them. At this moment, the young geniuses of the Yi family who were standing in the chariots were also discussing. When they saw this scene, they also frowned. It was said that Immortal Palace was a very low-key and mysterious organization. The people in such an organization should be elites. They did not expect that such an idiot would appear, and it seemed that his status was not low either. What was going on? Could it be that he was not from Immortal Palace? A middle-aged man frowned. The other young disciples also sneered. How dare he provoke the Twin Kings like this? He would probably end up miserably. That might not be the case. At this moment, an opposing voice was heard. Hearing this voice, everyone turned around. When they saw the chariot, they secretly swallowed their saliva. That was because the person who spoke was the Yi family's saintess. However, what made them puzzled was why their saintess would say such a thing. Could it be that the two of them knew each other? Oh, how did they know? At this moment, the elders of the Yi family were also very puzzled. The Yi family's saintess did not explain anything. Instead, he said with a smile, "Elders, you will know soon enough. What I said is definitely not wrong." Hearing the saintess's words, the elders were also interested. One had to know that the saintess was a very proud person. Moreover, his strength and talent were terrifying. If nothing unexpected happened, his future achievements could be said to be shocking. He could even be on par with the great emperor. Therefore, the elders were very curious about the person who was favored by him. They wanted to know what kind of abilities the other party had. Meanwhile, the people around them went crazy. They could not believe their ears at all. What was that kid saying? How dare he say that the Twin Kings were monsters? Oh heavens, he was simply courting death. Just watch, he would be torn to pieces soon. Everyone sneered. That was because they knew that the Twin Kings of Zhongzhou hated it when others called them monsters. Sure enough, when the Gemini King heard this, his face immediately twisted. The evil child roared, demonic clouds rolling around his body. The virtuous child's face also sank. His face was no longer full of benevolence. Instead, it was replaced with coldness. To make the virtuous one show such an expression, one could imagine how monstrous the killing intent in the hearts of the Twin Kings was. "Brat, you're dead. How dare you call us brothers monsters? I will let you know the feeling of living a life worse than death. You will be judged by the heavenly Tao and fall into the 18 levels of hell." The virtuous son's voice was also extremely cold. Behind them, ghostly, Hui Dao, and the people on the Black Demon ship also paled. They could not understand what the Hall Master was doing. Why did he deliberately provoke the other party? Lin Xian sneered in his heart. Angered? That's great. He could proceed with his plan. In his opinion, the other party was powerful and stood at the peak of the younger generation. However, there were also fatal flaws. That was psychological distortion. Under normal circumstances, this kind of dark mentality would not cause any problems. However, under his heavenly secret godly eyes, nothing could hide. It would take him no effort to destroy the other party. Boom! In the sky, the death scythe turned into a terrifying light shadow. It fell from the sky and directly cut the void in half. Whoosh! Lin Xian's figure flashed and instantly dodged the terrifying light shadow. However, in the next moment, a golden wheel appeared above his head and pressed down like a golden mountain. Boom! 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 The void shattered as if it was directly obliterated. The terrifying energy enveloped Lin Xian. How terrifying! It seemed that the Twin Kings were really angry. Yes, the power of this technique was much stronger than before. That brat was definitely dead. Seeing this scene, the surrounding experts all began to discuss. However, in the next moment, their pupils suddenly shrank. Because they found that the heavenly treasure wheel had missed and did not hurt the other party. That brat was so fast. No wonder he dared to compete with the Twin Kings. It turned out that he had such an extreme speed technique. Humph, so what? Speed alone was not enough to compete with the Twin Kings. Just wait and see. He would soon regret it. The Twin Kings looked at this scene and sneered. So that's how it is. You're relying on speed. However, this bit of movement technique of yours is nothing in front of me. The evil one sneered. The virtuous one's eyes flickered. Like a Buddha, his body shone with boundless light. That's enough. A golden rune appeared in Lin Xian's eyes. An illusion attack was instantly launched. That was the heavenly secret godly eyes, and it was launched so suddenly. Therefore, the Twin Kings did not have time to react and were hit by the illusion. Lin Xian did not use floating light to pull their souls into a strange space. Instead, he used a more low-key illusion that no one would notice. He did not plan to do it himself. He wanted to let the two brothers kill each other. What Twin Kings of middle ground? You're just a two-headed monster. You're just a little stronger than the others. However, that still doesn't change your identity as monsters. Ah! Damn brat, I'm going to kill you! I'll definitely tear you into pieces. The evil one roared crazily. The demonic chi in his body surged and instantly formed a huge black vortex in the sky. Countless black lightning bolts pierced through the void and enveloped the space where Lin Xian was. Buzz! Lin Xian's demigods and semidevils was extremely fast and dodged in an instant. Do you think you can escape? The virtuous one's low voice sounded. Save all living beings. Golden light shone in the sky, forming a golden cage that completely sealed the entire space. It was also mercilessly squeezing. It wanted to completely crush Lin Xian. This method was extremely terrifying. There was nowhere to dodge. Lin Xian's dragon sword domain instantly appeared and turned into a defense to resist. For a moment, a sonorous sound rang out. The golden light in Lin Xian's eyes became even more mysterious. The next moment, he continued to speak coldly. Save all living beings? You can't even save yourself, and you want to save others? What a joke! However, I have a way for you to save yourself. Kill that black monster, and you can monopolize the entire body. Of course, black monster, you can also do the same. Kill this golden-haired guy. This entire body will be yours. From now on, no one will say that you're a monster. What? Hearing this, everyone was stunned and the corners of their mouths twitched. However, many people sneered. Sowing discord? Chapter 2408. They originally thought that he had some powerful methods, but they did not expect him to sow discord. Who did he think he was? He was not the first person to use such a method, nor would he be the last. However, no one had ever succeeded. Central Continent's twin kings were peerless geniuses. Regardless of whether it was their temperament, will, or talent, they were all top-notch. How could a mere provocation make the two brothers turn against each other? Was that the genius of Immortal Palace? How laughable! What Immortal Palace? It was just trash. Sneers could be heard one after another. The elders of the Yi family also frowned. Indeed, what was the use of sowing discord? However, their holy physique was full of confidence because he knew that the other party must have his reasons for doing so. Sure enough, Central Continent's twin kings were also stunned when they heard that. Then, they revealed disdain. A mere attempt to drive a wedge between the two of them was enough to turn the two brothers against each other? What a joke! However, they soon frowned. Especially the evil one, whose face was full of malevolence. That was because a mysterious rune appeared in Lin Xian's left eye. He quickly constructed an illusory space and guided the evil one's soul into it. Previously, he had already used an illusory technique as a foundation, so the evil one did not realize that he had been pulled into a fantasy world. He felt as if a voice had sounded from the bottom of his heart. Then, a scene appeared in his mind. It was a scene of only one head. He occupied the entire body, invincible and respected by the world. No one would call him a monster anymore. He would reach the peak of martial arts. This kind of scene was what he had been dreaming of since he was a child. However, the reality of the past few years made him realize that he and his older brother could only coexist. It was impossible to kill him. However, for some reason, the dream that he had when he was young appeared again, and it was becoming more and more intense. In fact, it was not only the evil one. The good one was also slowly being guided to have such thoughts. At that moment, the evil one spoke. "Brother, I think what he said is reasonable. Why don't you die? Return this body to me." The good one snorted coldly. "I am the true owner of this body. You were just added later. Now I want to return myself." "What?" Hearing that, everyone was dumbfounded. They did not dare to believe it. Their minds went blank. What was going on? Did the twin kings of Central State really turn against each other? Heavens, what kind of joke is this? If it was so easy to sow discord, how could the twin kings of the Central State live until today? Most likely, he would be killed the moment he debuted, right? Obviously, ordinary sowing discord was impossible. Damn it, what did this brat do? To think that the twin kings of the Central State would turn against each other. For a moment, everyone was shocked. However, the situation ahead had changed greatly. The evil kid's expression was ice cold. His face was sinister like a demon king. "Since you are not willing, then don't blame me for being impolite." As he spoke, the death scythe in his hand slashed towards the virtuous one's head. What he wanted was the body, so he only wanted to get rid of the virtuous one's head. The virtuous one had the same idea. The celestial treasure in his hand smashed towards the evil one's head. In an instant, the two of them attacked, and the sound of intense collisions rang out. Half of the black demonic chi in the sky clashed with the other half of the golden light in the sky. This scene was not at all inferior to the confrontation between the two saints. Everyone's face was full of shock. This made them even more confused and frightened of Lin Xian. What kind of method did he use? Among them, the people from the 9 Heavens Holy Ground and 5 Elements sect looked gloomy. It was as if they had eaten a dead rat. Because they had mocked the other party before, thinking that he was an idiot and would never succeed. But now they were slapped in the face. The other party made the twin kings of the Central State fight with just a few words. This method was heaven-defying. The other people who mocked him also felt their faces burning as if they had been slapped in the face. Now, they did not dare to speak carelessly because the young man in front of them was too mysterious. Not only them, the saints, saintesses, and the older generation experts were also staring ahead with flickering eyes. No way, how did this guy do it? The 9 dragons pulled the chariot. On the Yi family's side, The disciples of the Yi family were also puzzled. An old man said in a deep voice, "If he guessed correctly, it should be an illusion." The twin kings fell for the other party's illusion. "Wu Dao, this friend of yours is not simple." "Illusion? No wonder." After the other Yi family disciples heard this, they also understood. It must be a very high-level illusion that directly affected the twin kings of the central state. After hearing this, Wu Dao's eyes flickered. He had already guessed this result, but he did not expect the other party's illusion to be so terrifying. The saints and saintesses also guessed this situation. So for a while, they became more vigilant of Lin Xian in their hearts. They even put on soul defense treasures and jade pendants. After all, no one knew when they would fight with the other party, so it was better to be prepared in advance. How did this guy do it? On another mountain peak, a woman looked stunned. The woman in purple next to her smiled. "Senior sister, I told you not to worry about him. Qingqing, I feel that he is so strange. I can't believe he subdued the twin kings so easily." The one who asked this question was none other than Zhao Jiruo. The woman in purple next to her was Murong Qingqing. Behind them were the people of Jade Lake. The others, like the saintess of all beginnings, were also surprised. However, the saint son of Thousand Thunder, the Toba family, and the saint son of all beginnings looked gloomy. Because they recognized the other party. "Damn it, it's that kid!" Not only them, but the people of the Tai dynasty were also here. At this moment, they also noticed the other party and immediately gnashed their teeth in anger. "That kid is not dead yet? And he joined the Immortal Palace? No matter where he joined, this is his death date. He dared to kill General Xianing. He has committed an incomparably heinous crime. Go and inform Zhang Wuhan that the kid has come out again. I don't believe that the war tribe will spare him." They were the people of the Tai dynasty's eldest prince. This time, many princes came. Among them, the eldest prince and the third prince came. However, the eighth prince did not come. He was now the crown prince and was supervising the country in the palace, so naturally, he could not come here. In the sky, Lin Xian stood with his hands behind his back, looking very calm. On the other side, there was a fierce battle. The twin kings of the central state had completely fallen into madness. The violent battle shocked everyone. Soon, the twin kings of the central state retreated while fighting and went far away. Along the way, everyone who saw them made way for them and did not dare to get close. After the twin kings of the central state left, everyone was still shocked and could not believe it. The terrifying twin kings were sent away just like that? Chapter 2409. The incomparably terrifying twin kings were sent away just like that. It was really unexpected. For a time, everyone's eyes were on Lin Xian. "Let's go." In the distance, Murong Qingqing's figure flashed and flew towards Lin Xian. Behind her, Zhao Jiruo and the young geniuses of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground quickly followed. "Brother Xian." A delicate cry attracted Wanda's attention. "So beautiful. Who is that woman?" "She is the saintess of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground." "Why is she here? Does she know this young man in front of her?" Everyone was puzzled. After all, not many people knew about the relationship between Lin Xian and Murong Qingqing. But from now on, the world would know. "Qingqing." Seeing Murong Qingqing fly over, Lin Xian smiled. In this kind of situation, although Murong Qingqing didn't jump into Lin Xian's arms, judging from the two's expressions, everyone could already guess what was going on. Heavens! The relationship between these two is too close. He actually dared to hold the hand of the Jade Lake Saintess? No! My goddess! Damn it, I must duel with him! Exclamations and screams sounded. They didn't expect the two to have such a deep relationship. It was hard for them to believe. Because that was the Jade Lake Saintess. She was the goddess of heaven in the hearts of countless people. But now, she was taken. How could they bear it? However, this was only the beginning. What shocked them was yet to come. In the distance, Another hazy figure floated over. Surrounded by a terrifying chaotic light, it quickly walked through the air. Lin Gongzi, we meet again. This is someone from the All Beginnings sacred ground. Looking at this chaotic aura, could it be the Saintess of All Beginnings? Heavens, don't tell me that the Saintess of All Beginnings is also having an affair with this kid. Everyone was about to explode. When the Saintess of All Beginnings heard this, she almost fell from the sky. What do you mean by having an affair? Her face darkened. She coldly snorted and swept her cold gaze below. Suddenly, a terrifying force surged downwards. The people below shrank their necks and didn't dare to speak anymore. Long time no see. Lin Xian looked at him and greeted him with a smile. Everyone below was extremely shocked. Heaven, they actually knew each other. Who was this kid? However, this was not the end. After that, a figure walked out of the chariot behind the 9 dragons. Suddenly, the world shook as if it was about to split apart. What a terrifying power! Everyone was shocked as they looked into the distance. Then, their pupils constricted. Some people even cried out in surprise. That seemed to be the Yi family's holy body. What? Holy body? That was an extremely terrifying existence. Perhaps not many people could suppress him. As expected, the Saint of All Beginnings, the Saint of All Beginnings, the Saint of Dian, and the other saints and saintesses all felt the pressure as soon as the saint body of the Yi family appeared. The Alcade Saint also focused his gaze, forming 2 divine lamps. The halo around him became even brighter. Boom! In the next moment, it exploded with a loud bang, forming streaks of shocking light. A mysterious voice sounded between heaven and earth. What a terrifying aura! The Alcade Saint is too terrifying. Everyone was shocked. Up in the sky, Leaf Daudenier felt a powerful battle intent. He looked down at the Alcade Saint, and was shocked. Unfathomable. That was his evaluation of the other party. However, he didn't come to fight with the other party. He came to see Lin Xian. Brother Lin, long time no see. Leaf Daudenier walked over with a smile. Lin Xian also smiled and cupped his hands. Brother Yi, I didn't expect you to come too. What? This kid even knows the Yi family's holy body? And it seems that their relationship is so good. Everyone's heads were about to split open. The other saints and saintesses were also shocked. Not to mention them, even the people on the Black Demon ship were stunned. They didn't expect Lin Xian to know so many saints and saintesses. He even knew the Yi family's holy body. It really surprised them. In the sky, in addition to Lin Xian, Murong Qingqing, the Saintess of All Beginnings, and Leaf Daudenier also greeted each other. They even chatted with each other. This scene naturally attracted the attention of everyone. For a time, many figures rushed over from afar. These people should have rushed over from the distant ruins. Or maybe they had just arrived. In short, they all gathered here. Even the people of the 9 heavens sacred ground below exclaimed because they found that their saint had returned. The 9 heavens saint was wearing a battle suit. His face was cold, and he exuded a powerful aura like a sharp sword. After he landed and learned what had happened, his face suddenly darkened. The next moment, he looked up at the sky, and a touch of coldness appeared in his eyes. However, when he saw the other figures in the sky, he frowned. Especially when he saw the holy body, his pupils shrank. Why is Leaf Daudenier here? On the other side, the people of the 5 Elements sect also exclaimed, Elder, you're here. Their holy son hadn't arrived yet, but their elders were already here. Therefore, the martial artists of the 5 Elements sect seemed to have found a pillar of support, and they all recounted what had happened before. After the elders heard, they were furious. Who dared to be so bold? Do they have a death wish? How dare they attack the 5 Elements palace? However, when they saw the scene in the sky, they were also shocked. For a time, they didn't immediately attack. However, on the other side, the 9 heaven saints' figure flickered, and he flew directly into the sky. Soon, he arrived near Lin Xian and the others. Whoosh! Lin Xian turned his head and looked. Murong Qingqing, the saint of all beginnings, and Leaf Doudenier also looked at him. For a moment, the space around the nine heavens saint condensed, and he was under great pressure. However, in the next moment, he snorted coldly, and a majestic force surged out of his body, instantly dissolving the pressure. "What do you want?" Lin Xian looked at him and said coldly. He naturally knew that the other party was the nine heavens saint, and he must have come here for no good reason. "Kid, you mercilessly killed the people of the nine heavens sacred ground. You have to give us an explanation. Do you really think that the nine heavens sacred ground is easy to bully?" The nine heavens saint said coldly. Although the other party had a few friends of the saints and saintesses, and even knew Leaf Doudenier. But so what? He was also a saint, and he didn't think that he was afraid of the other party. What's more, what happened just now happened in front of everyone. He had to give the other party an explanation. Otherwise, how could the nine heavens sacred ground survive in the future? Nine heavens saint, it seems that you haven't figured things out. Why don't you ask your subordinates, who started the fight first? Who insulted the people first? Do you think that with our status, we can tolerate being insulted in public? If you received merciless ridicule as soon as you arrived, what would you do? The one who spoke was naturally Murong Qingqing. She said coldly. So, this matter is the fault of the nine heavens sacred ground. I'm already giving you face by not asking you to apologize. Chapter 24:10. You. Hearing that, the saint of nine firmament was so angry that he vomited blood. However, the opponent was the saint of Jade Lake. Her strength was terrifying. He did not want to fight with her. In the next moment, he stared at Lin Xian and said coldly, "Brat, how about it? Do you dare to deal with it alone? Don't stand behind a woman if you dare! Deal with it alone? How do you want to deal with it?" Lin Xian asked calmly. He looked extremely calm. He did not take the saint of nine firmament seriously. Simple. A life for a life. Tell your men to kill themselves, and this matter will be over. Hearing that, the martial artists below were in an uproar. The people of nine firmament sacred ground and five elements palace sneered. Behind them, Ghostly and Hui Dao were infuriated. How dare he ask them to kill themselves? He must be tired of living! In the next moment, the two of them snorted, and a terrifying aura surged from their bodies again. "Boss, leave this to us. We can deal with it ourselves," Hui Dao said quickly. Ghostly also snorted, and a ghostly aura emanated from his body. Lin Xian waved his hand to stop the two of them. He looked at the saint of nine firmament again. "A life for a life? Are you sure? What's there to be uncertain about?" The saint of nine firmament snorted. He had to kill those two today. Otherwise, everyone would think that the nine firmament sacred ground was a pushover. "Okay, that's what you said." Lin Xian smiled coldly, and then he quickly shouted, "Rosalong!" "Got it." On the black demon ship, Rosalong also smiled. Not only did Lin Xian call him, but he also sent him a voice transmission to tell him the plan. In the next moment, the dragon aura on the crimson dragon surged, and it transformed into a person. This was a body of pure energy. It was illusory, but it looked exactly like a real person. If one did not look carefully, one would not be able to tell. After that, the crimson dragon waved its claws, and the young man in red flew forward quickly. Soon, he was near Lin Xian. Seeing another person disembark from the black demonic ship, the surrounding cultivators discussed animatedly, their faces filled with doubt. Even Murong Qingqing, Leaf Doudenier, the holy maiden of all beginnings, and the others were puzzled. Hui Dao and the other man were even more stunned. The saint of the nine firmaments said coldly after being stunned for a moment. "What, you want your trash to die in place of those two? That won't do. Whoever killed him would have to commit suicide to atone for their crimes." "All right. Whoever killed him will have to commit suicide to atone for their crimes. That's what I like about you." Lin Xian's smile deepened. Just as Lin Xian finished speaking, the eyes of the red-clothed young man nearby flashed with a cold light. Then, he lifted his hand and pointed to the front. "What's going on? Do you want to fight?" Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. Even Hui Dao and Ghostly were stunned. Who was this young man? Why hadn't they seen him before? They didn't know that it was formed by Dragon Chi, let alone the 9 Firmament Saint. He thought that the other party was going to attack, so his aura surged and he was about to attack. But in the next moment, he was stunned. Because the red-clothed young man didn't attack. Instead, he pointed at him and spoke. "You're the 9 Firmament Saint? You're nothing. How dare a piece of trash like you behave so atrociously in front of the Immortal Palace? The 9 Firmament Sacred Ground is nothing in our eyes. If you dare to be presumptuous again, believe it or not, I'll slap you to death." "What?" Hearing this, everyone was stunned. Even Hui Dao and Ghostly were stunned. On the other hand, Murong Qingqing and the Holy Maiden of All Beginnings twitched their mouths. Leaf Dao Denier's eyes flickered because he had figured out what Lin Xian was going to do. However, the 9 Firmament Saint didn't understand. He was so angry that his whole body trembled. What's going on? How dare someone point at his nose and scold him? Does he want to die? Damn it, you're courting death. The 9 Firmament Saint took a step forward. His aura suddenly burst out, and a terrifying phantom appeared behind him. A huge pressure pressed down on the front. However, the red-clothed young man didn't react at all because he was condensed by Dragon Chi and could ignore any pressure. Unless the other party attacked. However, if the other party attacked, he would have a bigger surprise waiting for him. After ignoring the pressure, the red-clothed young man continued to scold. "I advise you to get lost quickly and don't make a fool of yourself in front of me. By the way, don't call yourself the 9 Firmament Saint. Just call yourself Little Gigi and be our little brother. What do you think? I think your talent is not bad. Why don't you be my little brother? In 2 years I'll take you to be promoted and rich." The more the red-clothed young man spoke, the more arrogant he became. Everyone's scalp went numb, and they were terrified. Who is this? Are the people of the Immortal Palace also arrogant? First, it was Lin Xian who scolded the twin kings of Shongzhou State as monsters. Now someone dared to point at the 9 Firmament Saint's nose and scold him and even wanted to take him as a little brother. This made them feel dizzy. Ah! This is too much. The 9 Firmament Saint was really angry. Ordinary sky prides could not take it, let alone him. Therefore, in the next moment, 2 sharp rays of light shot out from his eyes. They were like heavenly blades that cut through the void and struck forward. Boom! The red-clothed young man did not defend at all. He did not dodge and was directly hit by the 2 rays of light. Then, he exploded and turned into a cloud of snow. He was killed. The surrounding people were shocked. Below, the people of the 5 Elements Palace and 9 Firmament Sacred Ground sneered. Especially the 9 Firmament Sacred Ground, they were cheering happily. This is great. This brat is so arrogant. How dare he insult the 9 Firmament Sacred Ground? He's dead for sure now. That's right. Let him know the power of the 9 Firmament Sacred Ground. On the Black Demon ship, the people of the Immortal Palace were also stunned. What kind of show was this? They did not understand. They asked the Crimson Dragon. The Crimson Dragon said, "Just wait. The show is about to start." Clap, clap, clap. In the sky, Lin Xian clapped his hands and then gave a thumbs up. The 9 Firmament Saint was indeed powerful. Even his gaze could kill. "You're just a piece of trash. You can't even block one of my attacks." The 9 Firmament Saint snorted. "Brat, don't play tricks. It's time to talk about our business." "Indeed, it's our business." Lin Xian retracted his palm. His eyes were extremely cold. 9 Firmament Saint, how dare you? How dare you kill the people of the Immortal Palace in front of everyone? Do you really think that the Immortal Palace is easy to bully? This voice was like thunder, piercing through the void. In addition, it came out of the blue, so it gave everyone a fright. Everyone trembled and looked up at the sky. Lin Xian continued. Earlier, you were the one who said in front of everyone that a life for a life. Now that you've killed the martial artists of the Immortal Palace, you should kill yourself to atone for your sins. What? As soon as these words came out, everyone was stunned. They were extremely shocked. They did not expect that the other party was waiting for the Nine Firmament Saint here. The people of the Nine Firmament Sacred Ground were pale. Damn brat, how dare you set us up? They were crazy. They were really crazy. They did not expect the other party to set such a big trap for them to jump into. Chapter 24:11. The Ninth Firmament Saint Sun's face also became extremely ugly. Now he naturally understood what the other party meant. Damn it, I was fooled! So that's how it is. Murong Qingqing and the Saintess of all beginnings understood, and immediately smiled. The corners of Yi Wudao's mouth curled up. He had already guessed this plan. In the rear, Ghostly and Hui Dao were also surprised. However, they still didn't know that the person who was killed was a fake. It was simply a mass of energy. Fortunately, Peacock was on the Black Demon ship and quickly transmitted her voice. Soon, Ghostly and Idao's eyes lit up. The Temple Master was really a good strategist. Without the slightest effort, without even sacrificing a single person, they were able to counterattack. Now, the unlucky one was not them, but the Ninth Firmament Saint Sun. They wanted to see what the Ninth Firmament Saint Sun could do. On the Black Demon ship, the martial artists of Immortal Palace also clapped their hands happily, their faces full of excitement. The Crimson Dragon snorted proudly. You dare to fight with us? Let's kill you! Damn boy, how dare you frame me? The Ninth Firmament Saint Sun roared. Of course, he now knew that he had been fooled, so he was extremely angry. However, on the other side, Lin Xian sneered in his heart. Frame you? Humph, if I don't slap your face swollen today, my surname is not Lin. So the next moment, Lin Xian sneered. What? You just said it, and now you don't admit it? Who said in front of the world that the murderer must pay with his life? Who said in front of the world that no one can replace you and that you must punish the murderer for his crime? It's only been a minute, and you've forgotten what you said. Are you a pig? You! The Ninth Firmament Saint Sun was so angry that he vomited blood. His lungs were about to explode. How dare the other party scold him? He couldn't bear it. Damn it, you deliberately provoked me. Of course, I have a reason to kill you. Really? You deliberately provoked me, so I have a reason to kill you? Well then. We just came here and didn't provoke anyone. We didn't say anything, but you people from the Ninth Firmament Holy Land scolded us. Is that deliberate provocation? Since you guys from the Nine Heavens Holy Ground are deliberately provoking me, why can't I just kill all of you? It's over. Hearing this, everyone shook their heads and sighed. The Ninth Firmament Saint had completely messed up their plan for revenge. Now that the Ninth Firmament Saint had fallen into the other party's trap, there was no way he could turn the situation around. No matter what he said, he would be slapped in the face. The people of the Nine Heavens Holy Ground were even more enraged. Each of them bared their fangs and brandished their claws. They could not wait to rush up and fight with the other party. You! The Saint of the Nine Firmament was so angry that he vomited blood again. He had never thought that the words he had said before would be used by the other party, and his face would be slap swollen. What was he supposed to do? Since your Nine Heavens Holy Ground is deliberately looking for trouble, then you deserve to be killed. What right do you have to seek revenge from me? Lin Xian's sonorous voice shook the Nine Heavens. Nine Firmament Saint Sun, you should scram. We don't welcome you here. Murong Qingqing and the Saintess of all beginnings laughed. On the Black Demon ship, everyone cheered. At this moment, everyone was stunned. Who would have thought that Immortal Palace's crisis would be easily resolved like this? Those saints and saintesses also stared at Lin Xian with flickering eyes. It seemed that the other party was not only powerful, but also resourceful. It could be said that he was a very terrifying opponent. However, the Saint of the Nine Firmament was obviously mad. He had never been so humiliated in front of everyone. So the next moment he roared, "Boy, I don't care what you say. Today, those two people must die. Is that so? What's the reason?" Seeing the murderous look on the other party's face, Lin Xian did not care at all. Instead, he asked with a sneer, "I don't need a reason to kill." The Saint of the Nine Firmament's voice was cold. He strode over like a killing god. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. "You don't need a reason? If you don't need a reason, why did you say so much before? It seems that you are not only an idiot, but also a shameless and hypocritical person. The Nine Firmament Holy Ground actually chose someone like you to be the saint. I wonder if your elders have water in their heads? Or is the Nine Firmament Holy Ground a despicable and shameless gathering place? Everyone there is despicable. It's just that you are even more despicable and shameless. That's why you became the saint." This set of face slaps could be said to have slapped the Saint of the Nine Firmament so hard that he could not fight back at all. At this moment, except for the people of Five Elements Palace and Nine Firmament Holy Ground, the people of the other forces all laughed. They looked like they were watching a show. "Aya, the Nine Firmament Holy Ground is in trouble this time. Yes, he was in the right at first, but now he has become a shameless and despicable person. The Saint of the Nine Firmament's face is probably swollen now. That guy from Immortal Palace is really powerful. First, he made the Twin Kings go crazy with just a few words. Now, with just a few words, he made the Saint of the Nine Firmament's face swollen and even trampled on the Nine Firmament Holy Ground. This method is really powerful." However, not everyone agreed. There were some who sneered. His sharp tongue and a little scheming weren't much at all. In this world, strength is what matters. If he was not strong enough, he would probably be killed on the spot by the Saint of the Nine Firmament. At that time, face slaps would not be important. Yes, who would care about a dead person? In the sky, the Saint of the Nine Firmament roared crazily. The aura in his body was like a wave, sweeping in all directions in an instant, and the whole sky trembled. A terrifying and frightening power surged out. "Boy, no matter what you say, you must die today! You have completely angered me!" With that, the Saint of the Nine Firmament shouted coldly, and his big palm directly slapped out. The void shattered. This palm was so fierce that it directly shattered the whole world. The terrible force enveloped Lin Xian. "Humph!" Yu Wadao snorted coldly, and the golden sacred domain in his body protected him. The Saint of All Beginnings was surrounded by chaotic qi, like a goddess. A lotus flower appeared under Murong Qingqing's feet, and the huge petals wrapped around her. Lin Xian's figure changed and disappeared in an instant. Whoosh! He dodged the terrible fist. "Boy, no matter how you dodge, you must die today!" The Saint of the Nine Firmament's murderous aura became even more piercingly cold. His eyes were like lightning, staring at Lin Xian. Lin Xian's face also darkened. "Why are you so angry? You want to kill someone just because your face hurts? But do you think you can beat me? I just didn't want to fight with you before, but since you want to die, I will fulfill your wish." The sword qi on Lin Xian's body flashed rapidly and rushed straight into the sky. The terrible aura made everyone tremble. "Swordsman, he is a swordsman!" Many people exclaimed because it was the first time they had seen Lin Xian fight. Buzz! With a swing of the sword, the terrible light burst out like a comet, and the whole space was split into two from the middle. Chapter 24:12. You want to kill me? Who do you think you are? Today, I'll let you know the power of the Nine Heavens' sacred ground. The Nine Heavens Saint roared and waved his fist. He was like a supreme god, about to shatter the whole world. Boom! 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 Their attacks collided in the sky, bursting into bright light. Then they each retreated 5,000 meters. Then, they quickly attacked again. Everyone was shocked by this scene. He blocked it. He could actually block the saint's attack. God, this kid is too scary. Needless to say, he was also a saint. They didn't expect him to be so strong. Exclamations came one after another. Indeed, when Lin Xian fought with the Twin Kings before, he didn't use any terrible attack at all, and the Twin Kings went crazy. Everyone didn't think that Lin Xian was strong, but now it seemed that was not the case at all. The other party was definitely a saint. Otherwise, it was impossible for him to compete with the Nine Heavens Saint. The two exchanged dozens of blows, and the sky fell and the earth cracked. Damn it, how could he block it? The Nine Heavens Saint roared crazily. He didn't expect the other party to be so strong. Humph, I'll take you today! Lin Xian shouted coldly. The aura on his body became even more terrifying. The invisible sword she rushed quickly, and a golden sword light fell from the sky like a golden wave. It filled the whole space. A trace of golden light came out and scattered around, causing the surrounding mountains to collapse directly. One could imagine how terrifying this sword was. This sword chi was terrifying. Everyone was stunned. It couldn't be helped. The sword of gold was originally an offensive sword chi, and Lin Xian had a heaven-grade treasure in his hand. Coupled with the great dragon sword soul, it could be said that it was extremely terrifying. Not many people could block it. At this moment, even the saint of all beginnings exclaimed. Yu Wudao's eyes flickered, and his expression was solemn. The Alcade saint below once again burst out with a terrifying halo. The other saints and saintesses also exclaimed. Because this sword was indeed beyond their expectations. Damn it, how could this kid be so strong? The saint of all thunder gritted his teeth, and the people of the Mop-Head family looked gloomy. The martial artists of the Tai dynasty and the first prince's side were even more shocked. Who would have thought that the other party's strength would actually increase again? He was so strong that they were trembling. Ah! Damn it, go to hell! The Saint of the Nine Firmaments roared madly. He naturally felt the terror of this sword. Therefore, he also unleashed his power without regard for anything else. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and the power in his body burst forth. His palms danced quickly. Nine Heavens' divine palm! A terrifying palm blasted out. 9 giant palm imprints appeared in the sky, like 9 ancient demonic mountains. Their auras were overflowing, wanting to suppress everything. Boom! Boom! The 9 giant handprints collided with the golden sword light, producing a shocking sound. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. Countless bolts of lightning circled the area. The surrounding mountains were instantly shattered into fine powder and vanished into thin air. Not good, this attack is too strong, hurry up and defend together. An old man roared angrily. Those experts all made their moves. A terrifying light screen flickered as countless experts took action, forming a powerful defense that blocked the aftermath of this energy. In the sky, Murong Qingqing, the saintess of all beginnings, Yi Wudao, and the others also retreated into the distance. Ghostly and Hui Dao swayed and came to the black demon ship. The black demon ship shone brightly to resist the attack. At this moment, everyone was watching the battle intently. Boom! 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 The terrible roar was still ringing out, and the golden light was getting fainter and fainter. That's great! Seeing this scene, the martial artists of the 9 Firmaments' sacred ground cheered. It seemed that their bodies had suppressed the other party. However, halfway through their exclamations, 4 of the 9 giant palms in the sky were directly split apart. The remaining 5 were bitterly holding on, but they were also cut off in an instant. What? The 9 Firmaments' divine palm was broken. How could this be? The martial artists of the 9 Firmaments' sacred ground went crazy, and the others also exclaimed. The saint of the 9 Firmaments' sacred ground's pupils shrank. His body moved like lightning and instantly retreated. Want to leave? Sword of Earth! Lin Xian snorted coldly, and waved his long sword. The earth trembled, and pieces of rock condensed into swords of earth. They protruded from the ground and slashed into the sky. 5 swords of earth surrounded the saint of the 9 Firmaments. Whoosh! Lin Xian used the sword of fire again. The horrifying black flame sword slashed down again. One sword, and the sky shattered. The terrifying sword chi was unimaginable. Ah! The saint of the 9 firmaments, sacred ground roared. The sun, moon, and stars appeared around him as if they had turned into the universe, resisting the swords of earth and the swords of fire and the sky. This was the 9 heavens. Seeing this scene, many saints exclaimed. They knew that the 9 firmaments' sacred ground was very terrifying. It was said that there was a kind of superpower called the 9 heavens, which was very terrifying. It seemed that the saint of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground was using this kind of superpower. Sure enough, there were 3 light shadows around the saint of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground. They superimposed around him, blocking the terrifying attacks. 3 heavens! The saint of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground used 3 heavens to block all the attacks. Then, a fierce light burst out from his eyes. Kid, you have completely angered me. Today, I will show you the 9 firmaments' sacred ground's superpower. As he spoke, 3 superimposed heavens appeared above him. It was very terrifying. 3 heavens again. At this moment, the saint of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground displayed 6 heavens. 3 layers of defense and 3 layers of attack. It was really terrifying. This scene was too terrifying. Could you imagine someone using 3 heavens to fight? The saint of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground was like this now. He was like a god, waving 3 heavens and pressing down. Such a terrifying attack made everyone's scalp tingle. No one could withstand such a terrifying attack. They would probably have to use super speed to dodge it. This kid is definitely dead. The martial artists of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground clenched their fists. The saint of the 1,000 thunders' sacred ground sneered. The people of the Mop-head family also looked ferocious. On the Tai dynasty's side, the crown prince's people were even more nervous. It would be best to let the saint of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground kill the other party. This way, they could save themselves the trouble. In the distance, Yi Wudao's eyes flickered. The 9 heavens' sacred ground was indeed terrifying, although the saint of the 9 firmaments' sacred ground had only displayed 6 heavens. However, it was not something that ordinary superpower could resist. He wondered what kind of superpower Brother Lin would use to resist. It should be no problem. Murong Qingqing was also very nervous. On the Black Demon ship, the people of Immortal Palace were also very serious. Because this battle was related to the reputation of Immortal Palace. The Crimson Dragon Quan man was no longer panting. He knew that Lin Xian's trump card was definitely beyond imagination. Therefore, he would move his dragon claws and say fiercely, "Kid, kill him for me!" No, no, no. Xiao Bai stood on the Crimson Dragon, cheering for him. In front. Lin Xian also frowned. This kind of superpower was really terrifying. It was unpredictable. It was as if 3 heavens had descended from the sky. Each of them was very mysterious, carrying the sun, moon, and stars. Chapter 24:13. Swoosh! He did not take it head-on. Instead, he used the demigods and dodged to the distance. The space where he was originally standing was shattered. He had no choice. The power of the 3rd heaven was too terrifying. Humph, let's see how long you can hide. The 9th firmament saint sneered. After displaying the 6th layer of heaven, he became incomparably confident. He looked forward with a murderous look in his eyes. Kid, I'll let you know the consequences of offending me and the 9th firmament sacred ground. What Immortal Palace? In my eyes, it's nothing. You can't compare to the 9th firmament sacred ground. Now you can die. The 9th firmament saint seized an opportunity and used the 3rd heaven to completely seal off the area. This time, Lin Xian could not escape at all. You can't escape. I'll let you know what a true superpower is. Seeing this, the 9th firmament saint's face was extremely ferocious. In the next moment, he formed a seal with his palms. The 3rd heaven quickly pressed down, and the sky was completely shattered. Everyone exclaimed. They knew that Lin Xian would not be able to block it. Lin Xian was also extremely surprised. He realized that the third heaven was indeed terrifying. It was far beyond his imagination. However, he was not afraid. He had just cultivated the five elements sword. It was just the right time to use it. He swung his sword and swept in all directions. Whoosh! Blue sword light shone. Suddenly, seawater surged around Lin Xian and spread in all directions. More and more, as if it was going to cover the entire sky. This is ocean. No, this is sword chi. Heavens, his sword technique has reached such a level. Many experts below exclaimed. On the Black Demon ship, the elders of the Immortal Palace also looked solemn. This seemed to be the sword of water of the five elements sword. In such a short time, the palace master could cultivate to such a level. His talent was too heaven-defying. That's right, this was indeed the sword of water. The terrifying heaven sword technique combined with the great dragon sword soul was unparalleled. There seemed to be thousands of beasts galloping in the sky, making rumbling sounds. This was the sound of the seawater colliding with the third heaven. The seawater continued to gush out, enveloping Lin Xian and spreading in all directions, resisting the terrifying third layer of heaven. The three layers of heaven were extremely terrifying. They formed a triangle and resembled three heavenly blades as they slashed towards Lin Xian. However, at this moment, when they encountered the seawater, they encountered great resistance. They cut through the seawater, but they were surrounded by seawater instead. For a moment, there was a stalemate in the air. In the end, the speed of the three heavens became slower and slower. Finally, they came to a complete stop, surrounded by the endless sea water. It was blocked. He actually managed to block it. At that moment, the holy sons and holy daughters cried out in surprise. They didn't expect that the terrifying third heaven would be blocked by the sea water. Seeing this, Lin Xian's lips curled into a smile. It seemed that the sword of water was indeed powerful. It contained an incomparably soft power that could dissolve everything. Damn it, how is this possible? When the people of Nine Heaven's holy ground saw this, their eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. This was a great divine ability of their holy land. Yet, it was so easily broken by the other party? On the other side, the Five Elements Palace snorted. What's the use of blocking it? He can't fight back anyway. In the end, he would still be killed by the Nine Heavens Saint. Yes, that's right. He can only protect himself. Compared to our bodies, he's too weak. The people of Nine Heavens' holy ground gritted their teeth. However, they soon realized that they were wrong. They were wrong. In the sky, the Nine Heavens Saint's face darkened when he saw that his attack had been blocked. However, he soon increased the intensity of his attack. Kid, I don't believe that you can last forever. As long as I cut through your seawater, let's see what you have to resist. The Nine Heavens Saint's voice was cold, and the light on his body became even brighter. Lin Xian was surrounded by the endless seawater, but the corners of his lips curled up into a smile. In the next moment, he swung his sword again and slashed out. Whoosh! The sea water rippled, and an invisible force spread out. However, it didn't have any effect. This scene stunned the Nine Heavens Saint. Then he laughed out loud. Is this your attack? It seems that you don't have much strength left to fight back. If that's the case, go to hell. Speaking of this, the third heaven in front of him launched another fierce attack. The seawater in the sky surged, making splashing sounds as if the Milky Way was pouring down from the ninth heaven. However, while he was attacking, the third heaven beside the Nine Heavens Saint changed. Suddenly, countless green lights appeared in the third heaven, and then turned into trees and vines, spreading out in all directions. Soon, a forest was formed and spread to the other two heavens. What's going on? What's this? Why is there a forest growing in the third heaven? Shouldn't it be in the starry sky? The martial artists watching the battle were all stunned. They knew that the ninth heaven's grand superpower was a kind of superpower that simulated the starry sky and the universe. It was extremely terrifying. But now, there was a forest growing in it. They couldn't believe it. The people of Nine Heavens' holy ground screamed, and the Nine Heavens Saint's pupils shrank. Damn it, what's going on? He was more frightened than these people because he realized that these trees were absorbing the power of the third heaven. The light of the third heaven became dimmer and dimmer. The power in his body was also rapidly depleting. Damn it, it's the other party's cultivation technique. Seeing this, the Nine Heavens Saint roared. Destroy! The third heaven beside him exploded with endless light, cutting off all the forest. However, the broken forest trees grew again, turning into towering trees, crazily absorbing the energy. In an instant, the space around the Nine Heavens Saint was completely surrounded by the forest. It's the kid's superpower. At this moment, everyone understood what was going on, and they all cried out in surprise. The other saints and saintesses also exclaimed. The people of Five Elements Palace looked even worse. Is this the power of wood? This kid can already use the power of the five elements. Could he be a martial artist of the five elements? This stunned them. Because the Five Elements Palace cultivated the superpower of the five elements. They didn't expect the other party to know a similar superpower of the Five Elements Palace. Damn it, our saint isn't here. Otherwise, we would definitely be able to restrain him. In terms of superpower of the five elements, our Five Elements Saint is definitely the best. Damn it, if it weren't for the fact that there were so many people, our elders would have taken action. We would have killed him with one slap. These people gritted their teeth, but the people around them exclaimed. The Nine Heavens Saint was even more furious. He naturally also realized that this was the power of wood. So in the next moment, he snorted coldly and waved his hand. Flames rushed out of his body and swept in all directions. They formed a flaming divine eagle. Humph! How long can you last under my flames? The Nine Heavens Saint snorted coldly. Chapter 24:14. As expected, when the rain of the forest met the fire, it burned fiercely, and the sky was dyed red by the fire. When the green trees turned into ashes, the flaming godly eagle also disappeared. Seeing this, the Ninth Firmament Saint laughed loudly. Did you see that? Your attack is nothing in front of me. Is that so? The corners of Lin Xian's mouth curled up into a cold smile, and his eyes were filled with mockery. Damn it, what's with that expression? The Ninth Firmament Saint's face darkened when he saw Lin Xian's mockery. In the next moment, his pupils constricted. Because he felt that the trees that had turned into ashes around him were once again fluctuating with the green light. Then, they quickly turned into towering trees, and the vines grew again. My power of wood is endless. You're underestimating it too much. Now go to hell for me. At this point, Lin Xian shouted coldly and increased his strength. As expected, the trees grew crazily. Countless trees grew from a few meters to a few hundred meters, a few thousand meters, and even 10,000 meters. It was a terrifying scene. It was as if a forest had appeared in the sky. Moreover, it was still growing. Of course, the energy needed for this growth was collected from the third heaven. Therefore, the third heaven around the Ninth Firmament Saint became extremely dim. What was even more terrifying was that the Ninth Firmament Saint felt the energy in his body rapidly draining away. Ah! Damn it! He roared and removed the third heaven around him to prevent the energy from draining away. Boom! A set of battle armor appeared on his body, and it supported his defense. He did not believe that these trees could still grow on his body. A flaming battle armor appeared on the Ninth Firmament Saint's body. It burned fiercely and blocked all the trees that rushed over. Seeing that the wood energy was suppressed, the Ninth Firmament Saint heaved a sigh of relief. In the next moment, he turned his head and stared ahead again. His body swayed, and he rushed over. At the same time, the third heaven in front of him was like a heavenly sword, mercilessly cutting the sea water apart. That's great. The Ninth Firmament Saint was going to fight back. The people of Five Elements Palace and Nine Firmaments Sacred Ground cheered below. But at this moment, Everyone exclaimed again. Because in the sky, among the countless forests, a golden light suddenly appeared. Boom! A golden sword suddenly flew out like a golden lightning bolt. It streaked across the sky and crashed into the ninth firmament saint. Oh no! Feeling the terrifying power behind him, the ninth firmament saint's expression changed. In the next moment, the light on his body suddenly burst out, forming 9 light shields surrounding him. Clang! The golden sword collided with one of the light shields and made a shocking sound. Crack! The light shield, and the ninth firmament saint's body. However, the ninth firmament saint was wearing armor, so he was not pierced. However, this terrifying force still caused the blood in his body to churn. His body flew forward at an even faster speed. He even vomited a mouthful of blood. Oh no! The ninth firmament saint's everything happened so quickly that the ninth firmament saint fell into the sea before anyone could even exclaim in shock. In the next moment, the ninth saint. Lin Xian's eyes flashed with coldness. The ancient dragon abyss sword exploded in an instant, and an unparalleled power transformed into a huge dragon that slashed down viciously. Sky! When the sword landed on his opponent's body, a deafening sound rang out. The surrounding space and endless seawater were shattered, forming a vacuum zone. The ninth firmament saint plunged into the ground like a shooting star. The ninth firmament void he was in collapsed. Whoosh! Boom! The ninth firmament void trembled as if there was an earthquake. Everyone's hearts trembled. Damn it! How did this happen? The 5 elements palace's face darkened. The ninth firmament sacred grounds martial artists screamed. Saint! They could not believe that their holy son had actually been chopped down by someone with a single sword strike. Ah! Damn you! I'm going to kill you! In front of them, countless rays of light surged. The ninth firmament saint dashed out of the deep pit. His face was ferocious. The armor on his body was broken, and blood was flowing from the corner of his mouth. He was about to explode in anger. But in the next moment, he was greeted by a terrifying foot. In the sky, Lin Ninth snorted and stomped his foot. Boom! A huge rock foot came crashing down from the sky like an ancient demonic mountain. It shattered the void and completely enveloped the saint of the ninth firmament. Boom! Just as the ninth firmament saint flew into the air, he was stomped down. Boom! His body landed on the ground again. Not only that, but the foot also turned into a huge mountain and crushed down. At this moment, everyone's eyelids twitched violently. Many of them even touched their faces subconsciously. If they had been stomped by that foot, they would have been seriously injured. More importantly, they would have been embarrassed. A saint was stomped down in public. This was definitely a great humiliation. At this moment, everyone was in an uproar. The saints and saintesses also looked serious. On the Black Demon ship, the Immortal Hall martial artists cheered. Great! The Temple Master is mighty. What ninth firmament saint? Now you know how powerful we are. That's right. Ninth firmament sacred ground wants to fight against Immortal Hall. You're too far away. Voices came from the Black Demon ship. Everyone's scalp went numb. The ninth firmament sacred grounds people were ashen-faced. They rushed up crazily. But just as they moved, the rock foot shattered. Then, the ninth firmament saint flew into the air. He opened his eyes and formed a few hundred meters of light that shattered the rock in front of him. The aura on his body was monstrous. He turned into the ninth firmament immortal king and stood in the void. Damn kid, I want you dead. He was crazy. Because he had never been humiliated like this before. He was actually stomped down. How was he going to show his face in the future? He had to kill the other party to wash away his humiliation. Kill! In the next moment, he rushed out like a madman. A blue bead appeared in his hand, exuding a mysterious power. Feeling the power, Lin Xian's pupils constricted. He naturally felt a terrifying power from it. It seemed that the other party had used his trump card. However, he would not continue to fight with the other party. Heavenly secret, divine eyes, soul ignition. Ah! The ninth firmament saint had just flown halfway when he screamed. He rolled in the air, looking very miserable. Seeing this scene, everyone was stunned. Damn it, what happened? Soul attack. It was definitely a soul attack. This kid was a soul expert. At this moment, the saints and saintesses' eyelids twitched wildly. Fortunately, they had seen the Twin Kings battle, so they put on their jade pendants in advance. However, the ninth firmament saint had just arrived and did not know the Twin Kings' situation. So this time, he was directly hit in the soul. Boom! At this moment, Lin Xian slashed out a sky full of sword light. All of them landed on the ninth firmament saint, sending him flying and vomiting blood. Saint! This time, the people of ninth firmament sacred ground could not take it anymore. Chapter 24:15. The Saint. This time, the people of the nine heavens sacred ground could not take it anymore. They rushed into the sky and caught the nine heavens saint. Damn it, let's go! The nine heavens saint gritted his teeth and said with a pale face. Hearing this, the surrounding martial artists of the nine heavens sacred ground were shocked. They did not expect that their bodies would be leaving. It seemed that their injuries were not light. In the next moment, they gritted their teeth and roared. Damn kid, I'll remember you! Immortal Palace, right? We, the nine heavens sacred ground, will not let this go! With that, they gathered around the saint of the Jiushao clouds and quickly rose into the air and flew into the distance. They ran away? They actually ran away! Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were stunned. It seemed that the nine heavens saint had lost. In the next moment, they looked at Lin Xian and gasped. This person had actually defeated the nine heavens saint. It was unbelievable. Because they did not expect this result at all. In an instant, many people looked at Lin Xian in horror. The saints and saintesses were facing a formidable enemy. This was definitely a powerful enemy. However, at this moment, the wind and clouds in the sky suddenly changed. A large palm glowing with 5-colored lights slammed down viciously. This palm appeared very suddenly. There was no warning at all. When it appeared, it was less than 200 meters away from Lin Xian. The space around Lin Xian shattered in an instant. Lin Xian's pupils shrank as well. He could feel a powerful aura. In the next moment, the dragon sword realm instantly enveloped him. At the same time, streaks of sword chi shot into the sky and collided with the 5-colored palm. Crack! Crack! However, it was useless. The sword chi that filled the sky was shattered by the palm. The 5-colored palm carried the 5 elements of wood, water, fire, and earth. It completely merged together and slammed down. This was definitely a shocking palm strike from a terrifying expert. Lin Xian's face was grave. He roared and was about to use his trump card to resist. However, at this moment, a cold snort came from the black demon ship. One of the elders instantly took out a black ancient mirror, which emitted a black light. Whoosh! The black light was like a bolt of black lightning. It tore through the void and struck the 5-colored palm, piercing through it. Boom! An earth-shattering sound rang out, and the 5-colored palm disappeared, leaving behind only a trace of blood in the sky. Below, among the people from the 5 Elements Palace, an old man let out a muffled groan and withdrew his palm. His palm had been pierced through and was dripping with blood. His aged eyes looked to the sky, his face filled with fear. There was actually someone who could injure him with a single strike. Who was it? This happened so quickly that they didn't even have time to react. By the time they reacted, the 5-colored hand in the sky had already disappeared. Then they cried out in surprise. Someone actually wanted to kill him. Furthermore, looking at the 5-colored palms, could it be that the 5 Elements Palace was about to make a move? In the next moment, countless gazes looked in the direction of the 5 Elements Palace. Sure enough, they saw an old man in the crowd with bleeding palms. It's him. He seemed to be an elder of the 5 Elements Palace. Those were experts of the older generation, extremely terrifying. If that slap were to hit, even a saint would be severely injured. Yes, they didn't expect the elder of the Five Elements Palace to actually make a move, and he was even injured. What was that black light? It seemed like there were peerless experts in Immortal Palace. Discussions sounded one after another. On the black ship, the elder rose into the air and snorted coldly. Five Elements Palace, you sure are bold. You actually dare to attack the master of Immortal Palace. Do you not want to live anymore? The elder's aura was extremely powerful, and a black mirror floated above his head. That mirror was very simple and unadorned, hexagonal in shape. It was clearly an ancient object. At this moment, tens of thousands of black rays of light descended, shattering the void. This scene was extremely terrifying and shocking. However, what made everyone even more shocked was the elder's words. What did he say? Immortal Palace's master? Heavens, that youth was actually Immortal Palace's master? They didn't dare believe it. From the looks of it, although they had never heard of Immortal Palace, their strength was definitely not weak. They were at least at the level of a great sect. Such a power had a young man as its master? They were dumbfounded. However, from the looks of it, it shouldn't be fake. For a moment, everyone looked at Lin Xian and cried out in surprise. Among them, many people's eyes were filled with envy. His identity had probably surpassed that of a saint or a saintess. No wonder he could obtain Murong Qingqing's heart. That kid had a great background. The faces of the people from Five Elements Palace were extremely gloomy. They didn't expect their sneak attack to fail, and they were caught red-handed. For a moment, they fell silent. On the other side, the 10,000 Thunder Saints' face was gloomy, and the people of the Tuoba family were even more solemn. On the other hand, the crown prince of the Tai dynasty was screaming crazily. Palace Master? Damn it, when did that kid become the Palace Master? Wasn't he an itinerant cultivator? Those people were indeed stunned. Previously, when they joined forces with countless experts to hunt down the other party, no powerful figure jumped out from behind the other party. However, only a few months had passed, and the other party already had a force comparable to a great sect behind him. That caught the crown prince and the others off guard. Damn it, this won't do. They had to contact the people of the war tribe and kill him. Otherwise, it would be difficult to kill him in the future. Everyone was shocked by Lin Xian's identity and strength. Lin Xian's face was gloomy. Damn Five Elements Palace, how dare they sneak attack him? That was unforgivable. At the next moment, he snorted coldly and waved his hand. Attack! Order received. On the Black Demon ship, the Crimson Dragon swung its tail and instantly took control of the Black Demon ship. Buzz! A shocking black beam of light flew down from the sky. Its target was the people of Five Elements Palace. What? Everyone was stunned. They did not expect the other party to attack so decisively. Hurry up and leave! Countless people rose into the air and quickly flew to both sides. They wanted to leave Five Elements Palace. The people of Five Elements Palace turned pale. F***CK, wasn't it just a sneak attack? Damn it, how dare you launch such a fierce attack? At the next moment, they also ran away frantically. The elders' faces were also gloomy. They shouted loudly, "Hurry up and defend!" At the next moment, they opened their mouths and spat out shields, bronze pagodas, and arrays to form countless defenses. At the same time, they retreated frantically. Boom! The black beam of light collided with the defenses, resulting in a shocking collision. A huge energy wave spread out in all directions. The ground cracked, the sky shattered, and the mountain peaks were instantly flattened. Everyone retreated in fear until they were tens of thousands of miles away. In front of them, the black light exploded, forming a black mushroom cloud that shot into the sky. Bang! 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 In the storm that filled the sky, countless figures were sent flying backward, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Some even exploded into a bloody mist. The elders roared crazily. Damn it, run! Chapter 24:16. Whoosh! A 5 elements mountain rushed out of the body of a peerless expert, blocking the path ahead. A 5-colored sword light formed under the feet of an elder, and he instantly disappeared into the sky along with all the people of the 5 elements palace. Damned brat, just you wait. This matter isn't over. The people of the 5 elements palace only left behind these words, along with a large amount of blood and corpses. Humph, you ran fast enough. Otherwise, I would have killed all of you the next time. Lin Xian looked into the distance and coldly snorted. The other party actually dared to sneak attack him. They were truly reckless. He decided that if he saw the people of the 5 elements palace again, he wouldn't let any of them off. In the sky, the terrifying energy storm disappeared, and a terrifying black hole appeared in front of them. It was so deep that one couldn't see its bottom. Everyone in the surroundings was stunned. The 5 elements palace was also forced to retreat. This brat was too terrifying. Arrogant. As soon as he appeared, he confronted 2 holy lands. This left everyone speechless. Moreover, from the looks of it, the people of the 5 elements palace had suffered heavy injuries. Many of their disciples had even been killed. This was definitely a shocking matter. Whoosh! While everyone was in a daze, a golden Taoist robe appeared in the sky and gently fluttered in the wind. The remnant energy storm in the surroundings dissipated. A voice rang out from among the savage beasts below. Everyone, we came here to explore the ancient tomb. Why is there a need to fight? This was an expert from the Wavering Light Holy Land. Everyone was shocked. They hadn't expected that the big shot of the Wavering Light Holy Land would speak. It wasn't just the Wavering Light Holy Land. In the sky, an elder of the Yi family also spoke. That's right. I feel that it's time to start cracking the ancient tomb. Yes. An old lady from the Jade Lake Holy Land nodded. She agreed. The eyes of the All Beginnings Holy Land's elder flickered. At this moment, the experts of various clans rushed over. Lin Xian and the others also focused their attention. I feel that we should first work together to break the seal outside. After entering the ancient tomb, we can compete with our own strength. What do you think? Good. Good. Everyone agreed. After all, fighting outside wouldn't bring them any benefits. Moreover, this was the ancient tomb of a sage. The seal should be extremely terrifying. It would be more reliable to work together to break the seal. Good. Since that's the case, let's discuss it. The Yi family's elder walked. Many disciples of the Yi family followed behind him. On the other side, the elder from the Wavering Light Holy Land also rose into the air. People from the other clans and holy lands were all rushing over. For a moment, countless rays of light shone in the sky. This place was the Grand Xia Empire. Most likely, the royal clan of Grand Xia would be the first to investigate this place. Why don't you share the information with us? How about we come up with a countermeasure? Hearing this, many people turned their heads and looked in the same direction. There were many people there wearing yellow robes with fierce flood dragons embroidered on them. One of them was a young man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes. He was very handsome and wore a long white robe, which made him look like an immortal. He was a prince of the great Xia dynasty. There were many elders of the royal family by his side. At this moment, a gray-haired imperial family elder heard this and flew into the sky. He said loudly, "Gentlemen, we have indeed carried out a great deal of investigation. This saint's tomb was very big. Currently, it was hundreds of thousands of miles wide. However, according to our estimates, the entire tomb must be several million li long. So big!" Everyone was shocked, but after thinking about it, they understood. After all, this was the tomb of a saint. From the hundreds of thousands of miles that we have discovered so far, we have found 3 places to enter. However, there are too many array formations and seals inside. We can't get through them alone. According to our observations and speculations, one of the 3 places is the weakest. Even so, it will take 100 Grand Masters who are proficient in array formations to work together for a month to tear the array formation apart. Hearing this, everyone gasped. It was indeed the tomb of a saint. It was too terrifying. Without further ado, let's begin. After hearing this, the family elder's eyes flickered. Soon, the various sacred grounds, great sects, and families sent out their array formation grandmasters to prepare and work together to break the array formation. Lin Xian also sent out 2 grandmasters. One was elderly, and the other was a middle-aged deacon. Of course, that didn't mean that they only had 2 people. It was just that they didn't need to reveal all their trump cards. The other sacred grounds and great sects should have done the same. After all, each force would send out 1 or 2 grandmasters. When they worked together, it would be a very terrifying group. They should be able to break it. The great Xia dynasty elder said that he needed 100 people, but there were a total of 150 grandmasters gathered. It seemed that everyone wanted to break it as soon as possible. Seeing this, the great Xia dynasty elder nodded and said, "Everyone, please follow me." Whoosh! They flew into the distance. After flying for a while, the great Xia dynasty elder's body swayed and he landed below. Seeing this, everyone followed him and landed as well. There was a canyon below that was more than 10,000 miles long. At this moment, the great Xia dynasty elder entered the canyon. The 150 array formation grandmasters followed him in together. The others landed around the canyon to watch. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon also followed. The 2 of them looked in the direction and frowned. That was because they had indeed sensed the fluctuations of an array formation. It was very obscure, but it had a terrifying aura. Boom! The great Xia dynasty elder landed below the canyon and waved his hand. Immediately, the vines on the mountain walls were all removed, revealing the entire 3 walls. Then, everyone was shocked. They discovered that the mountain walls were actually engraved with densely packed runes that looked like tadpoles. It was very mysterious. The surrounding people discussed because they couldn't understand it at all. The eyes of the saints and saintesses were also flickering. Below, the 150 array formation grandmasters also began to discuss when they saw the countless mysterious runes. They all frowned. Indeed, this array formation was very mysterious. No wonder the great Xia dynasty didn't do anything. Even if they did, they probably wouldn't be able to break it in a short time. It seemed to be a type of writing. An array formation grandmaster of the Yi family frowned. Writing? Are you saying that these runes are writing? The others were also surprised and looked over one by one. They knew that the Yi family was a clan of the ancients, and they definitely had an inheritance that had been passed down since ancient times. That was something that ordinary families couldn't compare to. Therefore, at this moment, everyone was shocked. Among them, the elder of the Jade Lake Sacred Ground asked, "What did it say?" Since it was writing, it must be a record. However, the elder of the Yi family shook his head. He only knew a few of the words and couldn't connect them at all. Hearing this, everyone sighed, their faces filled with disappointment. But then, they felt relieved. They were all experts of the peerless sects and sacred grounds. If even they couldn't understand it, one could imagine that even if it was writing, it should be very ancient. Such writing was very rare. It was already very impressive that the people of the Yi family could recognize a few words. Chapter 24:17. The other saints and saintesses were also waiting silently. They knew that it would take at least a month to crack it. So it was normal that they couldn't understand it now. However, the Crimson Dragon frowned, and there was a trace of doubt in his eyes. "What's wrong?" Lin Xian asked. "What did you see?" He also looked at it for a long time. He only saw that there was a strong seal on it, but he didn't know whether it was text or not. The Crimson Dragon cautiously transmitted his voice. "Why do I feel that those runes are a little familiar?" "Familiar? Do you know them?" Lin Xian was also surprised, and his eyelids twitched. He also transmitted his voice to ask. After all, this matter was too important, and he didn't dare to expose it. "I don't know them, but I feel like I've seen them before. It looks like some kind of text was formed after being complicated." formed after being complicated? Lin Xian frowned, and soon he understood. You mean, you've seen a simplified version of these runes? You can say that. The Crimson Dragon nodded. But even if it's simplified, I've seen it before. At most, I can recognize a few words. Then what's the simplified version of the text? Lin Xian felt that this was a clue. The text of the demon race. The demon race. Hearing this, Lin Xian was stunned. How could it be the demon race? Could it be that the ancient tomb of the saint belonged to the demon race? Was the demon saint buried in it? Lin Xian didn't know, but this was also one of the possibilities. After all, the Crimson Dragon proposed such a clue, so there was a high chance that it was so. Lin Xian didn't tell others, because he felt that even if he didn't say anything, the array grandmasters in front of him probably had a way to crack it. Indeed, the array grandmasters in front of them had already begun to discuss a way to crack it together. Some of the others were watching, and some felt bored, so they set up camp nearby. In an instant, the surrounding thousands of miles were all occupied by the people of these Holy Land families. The people of the Immortal Palace also occupied a valley, and these people were recuperating inside. Among them, Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon did not return to the valley. Instead, they were watching from the side of the canyon. Among them, Murong Qiqing came to accompany them for a few days and then went back. Hui Dao and the others also came several times, but they couldn't understand it after watching for a long time, so they went back to cultivate. Tens of thousands of miles away from the canyon, in a mountain range, there were countless figures flashing. These people's hidden auras were extremely powerful, and they were not any weaker than the experts from the Holy Lands and great sects. At this moment, there was a light screen in front of them, which was dozens of meters tall. On the screen was the scene of the people in the canyon cracking the array. There were many people standing in front of the image. There were men and women, young and old. Among them was a young man in a green robe. He was very handsome. Beside him stood a beautiful woman in a snow-white robe. If Lin Xian was here and saw this woman, he would definitely cry out in surprise. This was because this was the Yan Rui that he had met before. She was also the Zhao Shui that Lin Xian suspected. At this moment, Yan Rui's beautiful face was looking at the screen of light before her. Then she frowned. "Fairy Ryu, what did you discover?" the handsome young man at the side asked. Yan Rui's eyes flickered. These words seemed to be the language of the demon race. Now that she thought about it, it did look a little similar. The man in the green robe next to her also frowned. Hearing this, the elders behind were all shocked. They all stretched their heads over and looked carefully. After looking for a long time, they looked embarrassed. They couldn't understand. They really couldn't understand. The man in the green robe next to him also shrugged. Everyone around them couldn't understand. They looked at Yan Ryu. Yan Ryu sighed. "I can't understand it either, but I can understand the ancient language. This is obviously beyond the ancient era. I don't know which era it is from." Hearing this, these people sucked in a breath of cold air. Then, their eyes lit up. Could it be that this is the tomb of the ancient sage of the demon race? It's very likely. Great! If we can get the things inside, we can definitely develop and grow stronger. When the time comes, there might even be news about the nest of 10,000 dragons. Damn it, the tomb of the demon race has been occupied by so many humans. I can't take it lying down. There were also people who gritted their teeth. Why don't we rush over and kill them all? A burly man said. His entire body was covered in scales and he looked very demonic. However, after the man in the green robe heard this, he snorted coldly. Don't be rash. Although the Demon Lord Palace is also a sacred land, there are too many great sects here this time. We must not be rash. We must let them break the array formation first. We can just follow behind. Anyway, this is the tomb of the demon race. We definitely know more about the mechanisms and things inside than them. When the time comes, we can just go in and snatch the treasures. Everyone agreed to this plan. Yan Ryu, who was at the side, also nodded slightly. However, when she saw the red snake flashing by on the screen, a glint appeared in her eyes. But very quickly she hid it. These people were from the Demon Lord Palace. The Demon Lord Palace was a very terrifying sacred land in the southern mountains. The people inside were all related to the demon race, and most of them were half-demons. Unexpectedly, they had also come at this moment. And they began to plan from tens of thousands of miles away. On the other side, in the Great Canyon, 150 array masters had already begun to work. They used everything they had learned in their lives and began to break the array formation. The other saints and saintesses, as well as the warriors of the various sacred lands, were all recuperating nearby. Only a few people were watching around. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon were among them. Both of them were proficient in array formations. Although they did not make a move, they would not let go of this opportunity to watch. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. More than half of the array formation had been broken, but it was not broken. This was far beyond everyone's expectations. It seemed that the defense of this array formation was terrifying, and it was beyond everyone's imagination. After about another half a month, there was finally a boom. Endless spiritual energy in front of them surged into the clouds, forming a strange scene. Was it opened? All the warriors in the surrounding thousands of miles stood up and looked up at the sky. Whoosh! Their bodies swayed, and like ghosts, they gathered in the Great Canyon. Lin Xian and the Crimson Dragon also stood up, their eyes shining. They had been watching the entire process. Finally, on this day, the array formation in front of them shattered. The sturdy mountain wall was engraved with mysterious runes. At this moment, a crack appeared in the middle and slowly opened. Rumble! The entire mountain range trembled. Finally, a pitch-black cave entrance appeared, emitting a primordial aura. At this moment, the sky and the ground were filled with figures. They looked forward and were extremely excited. The people from the Immortal Palace also came to Lin Xian's side. They were also extremely excited, but no one rushed forward rashly. The eyes of the array masters at the forefront flickered. Chapter 24:18. Whoosh! The martial artists of the Yaoguang's sacred land waved their hands and took out a few demonic beasts. These demonic beasts were about 5-star demon kings. At this moment, they were tied with golden chains. Go! 3 demon wolves and 2 demon tigers were thrown in. These demonic beasts quickly entered, and the golden chains rattled in the air. After about half an hour, the 3 demon wolves and 2 demon tigers returned. They were not injured. They were also in high spirits. Obviously, they had not been attacked. Seeing this scene, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that there should be no danger. At least there were no traps in the entrance. Thinking of this, they all became excited. The elders of the Yi family, Yaoguang, Jade Lake, and other sacred lands looked at each other and then nodded. They could enter. With this order, these people were very excited. Whoosh! 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 Countless figures flew into the cave like locusts, covering the sky and covering the earth. They were afraid that if they were a step slower, the items would be taken away. Let's go. The people of the Yi family set off. Among them, Yi Wudao's figure was tall. His golden sacred domain rushed out, covered the people around him, and quickly entered. After that, the people of the Yaoguang's sacred land also went in. The auras of the elders surged, and the young martial artists followed behind the Yaoguang's sacred son and the Yaoguang's sacred daughter. The All Beginnings sacred land. The sacred daughter of All Beginnings entered with a group of people. The sacred son of All Beginnings snorted and also entered with countless experts. The relationship between the sacred daughter of All Beginnings and the sacred son was not very good, so they divided into 2 groups. Elder brother Xian and Murong Qingqing looked at Lin Xian. Lin Xian smiled. You follow the sacred land in first. We will meet again when there is a chance. Okay. Murong Qingqing nodded. Then she and the experts of the Jade Lake sacred land walked in. Let's go. Lin Xian took a deep breath. He, the Crimson Dragon, Hui Dao, Xing Tian, 3 elders, dozens of deacons, and 100 elites. They walked into the cave together. Not long after Lin Xian entered, the people from the Five Elements Palace also arrived. They looked at the figure with gloomy expressions. This time, there was a young man in a five-colored Taoist robe in front of them. He was very handsome, and his aura was even more terrifying. It seemed that this was the Five Elements Saint. Is that the kid who just went in? The Five Elements Saint's eyes shone with a cold light. That's right, it was him. The surrounding Five Elements Palace members gnashed their teeth in anger. When the Five Elements Saint heard this, he sneered. What's the big deal? When I meet him in the tomb, I'll just kill him. As he spoke, he strode in with his men. On the other side, the people from the Nine Heavens' holy ground had also arrived. The Nine Heavens Saint's face was a little pale, but from the looks of it, he should be fine. As he watched Lin Xian's figure enter, his face turned cold, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Damned brat, this time, I'll definitely kill you. Let's go. The Saint of the Nine Firmament quickly entered with his men. Apart from this, countless figures entered, and this continued for a very long time. Ha ha! Get out of my way! At this moment, a voice sounded in the distance, turning into a powerful torrent that rushed forward. Boom! Many people were sent flying. Damn it! Who is it? How dare you sneak attack us? Do you want to die? These people were furious. How dare someone attack us at the entrance of the cave? What, do you think we're easy to bully? Among these people, there were people from the sacred grounds, and there were also people from the great sections. They turned around angrily. However, in the next moment, their faces turned green. Zhongzhou's twin kings! He was back again. These people trembled and immediately made way for him. To be honest, they were too shocked. Previously, they had seen with their own eyes that the Zhongzhou twin kings had gone crazy and left. At that time, the good one and the evil one were killing each other. They thought that they had to kill one of them in the end to stop the battle. However, they did not expect that the other party would appear again. Moreover, the good one and the evil one existed at the same time, and neither of them were injured. What was going on? Could it be that the two of them had stopped fighting? They did not know what had happened, but they knew that the Zhongzhou twin kings were too terrifying. That kid was probably going to be unlucky. Sure enough, the Zhongzhou twin kings roared ferociously as they flew quickly. That damned kid, how dare you sow discord? You even used illusions. I won't spare you this time. I'll capture him and suppress him to the 18th level of hell. An ice-cold voice rang out. The Central State twin kings rushed into the cave in front of them, accompanied by a radiance that filled the sky. The surrounding people swallowed their saliva crazily. They knew that things had gotten out of hand. When the two sides met, there would definitely be a shocking battle. Let's go quickly. These people discussed and moved forward at the same time. Soon, the princes of the royal family and the various aristocratic families entered one after another. The entire process lasted for a long time. There were too many people. Fortunately, the ancient tomb of the saint was incomparably huge and could accommodate all of them. In fact, the space inside was far beyond their imagination. After waiting for a long time, when most of the people had entered and only a few itinerant cultivators were left, countless figures flew over from the distance again. These people dragged long streaks of light and landed in the canyon like comets. The person in the lead was Yen Ryu, whose clothes were whiter than snow. Next to her was a green-robed demonic man, followed by a large number of experts. They were the people from the Demon Imperial Palace who were hiding in the dark. When they came to the canyon and saw the two blood-colored doors at a close distance, they all laughed. As expected, it was the language of the demon race. It seemed that this was indeed the ancient tomb of the demon race's saint. There might be ancient cultivation methods and heaven-defying treasures inside. They had to leave quickly and not let those people get it. These people entered one after another. Inside the ancient tomb, everyone flew quickly. Armor appeared on their bodies and shields surrounded them to prevent sneak attacks. Lin Xian and the others also moved quickly. Not long after, The vision in front of them gradually widened and light appeared. Speed up! Seeing this scene, Lin Xian waved his hand. Immediately, the people from the Immortal Palace increased their speed. In front of them was a cave. It was extremely vast. There were countless white pillars in the surroundings, connecting the surface to the top of the mountain. There were even countless holes. At this moment, there were water droplets dripping on the ground, making dripping sounds. This was a karst cave. After entering, Peacock cried out in surprise. The others were also extremely shocked. They looked around. At this moment, someone in front of them pointed at the ground and went crazy with excitement. "We're rich! It's actually Earth Spirit Liquid!" "What? Earth Spirit Liquid?" The surrounding people were shocked and turned their heads. Sure enough, they saw that the liquid in the puddle on the ground was emitting a pure energy, causing their blood to boil. It was really Earth's Spirit Liquid. And from the looks of it, it should be tens of thousands of years old. After all, this was an ancient tomb that had been passed down since ancient times. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.